All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome back. Back to work this week off of Labor Day. Hope everybody had a good weekend. Got up this morning, checked the Powerball numbers, and I said, yeah, I'll see those guys as planned. So hello to all of you on a Tuesday.
Hello to you. It
Good.
was a glorious weekend. It was
Yeah?
a glorious weekend of football. It was absolutely incredible.
Why do you look hungover?
I'm not hungover.
He sounds hungover
Yeah.
too.
I'm okay.
I thought it was just me.
Here's my thing.
Are you still drunk from the
I'm not.
There's no
tailgate
shade.
party
I'm-
on Thursday?
I have to be fully transparent here right now. I have a new phone. I got a brand new phone
Yeah.
from the Apple store.
You too.
It was awesome.
All right.
And what happened is that the last couple of months of my old phone, it did this thing where it automatically set the alarm clock.
Yeah.
Where even I didn't have to go in, it would just be like 4:15. It would be there, it'd be
Mhm.
ready to go. So I got just very used to never having to set an alarm clock at all. And then all of a sudden,
Did we oversleep?
I would just wake up. I woke up
Hey,
about 30 minutes ago.
you got lucky.
I
Hey,
did not.
all
I
right.
did not.
Mhm.
I didn't. I haven't been setting my alarm clocks because I was just so used for a couple of months of like just being set. So I
Mhm.
woke up at 5:40, and when I woke up, it was dark, and I popped up and I grabbed my phone and I looked at the time and I go, "Oh my!" Like we were joking for the first couple of months of me being
Why is Matt
here
on StreamYard?
that I was going to like miss a show or I
Yeah.
was going to show up late or something like that, and I haven't done it yet.
Hey,
But
so
we
you were
got-
good while I was
We
gone.
got dangerously
Okay.
close. I like to wake up at 4 and I like run around and I get the blood flowing. Just the blood isn't flowing
I
as
get it.
much
Okay,
as it.
so that
it is.
explains why you look a little punch drunk.
Mhm.
I'm not drunk at all. I'm just.
People were wondering that
literally-
on Thursday. Did you know that?
what?
Thursday at the round table.
I was not. No,
I told people that you were just tired
you
because you were like slurring some words and people, because like some like guy came up and said, "Is Matt drunk?" And I'm like, no, I think he's
No.
just tired.
you. I got like that at the College World Series too. It was the same
Yeah?
way. I was getting accused of being drunk in the second show of doing it with Peterson after the
Yeah.
first game. It was just literally because I just get tired and I get hysterical. You were there the entire time. I didn't
Oh.
have one drink until the very, very end. And
Yeah.
you were walking
I
back. and
just
had
said
to
you were
throw away the
tired.
beer.
Some
I
guy
was
came
very
up,
tired.
he goes, man, Matt's slurring his words. And I said, yeah,
Is he
he
okay?
looks like he's tired.
No.
How
He's like,
old
"How
is
he?"
he?
He's like, okay. All
How's
right.
his
Welcome
blood
in, everybody.
pressure?
It is a Tuesday after. This is not a pun. I think the college football weekend ruled. Thank you. Thank you. I'll
That
be
was a
here
good one.
until 10 this morning. I told you this is the best week one opening slate that I can remember in college football, and it delivered. It delivered.
It did deliver. It was funny that I think that Ohio State and Texas did not deliver from an entertainment perspective. And you were kind of thinking,
Ooh, do not tell that to Buckeye Ross. He'll
Well,
come at you hard.
no,
He'll come at you hard like Caleb Downs sneaking into the box.
from an entertainment perspective, it did not deliver. But from everything else,
Not entertained.
the Florida State Bama game,
Yeah.
okay, the people at the Inverness Hotel in Colorado who were staying next to my room probably thought I was some Florida State honk and was getting ready to have a noise complaint.
You were that
toward my
guy
room.
yelling in
I was so enamored. I was so drawn in to Tony White and his defense because absolutely whooping up on
druggies just
Alabama.
come in here. and
I
start
could
screaming.
not believe what was going on. And then I do want to say this as somebody who attended a fall wedding over the weekend.
Yeah.
Fall weddings are selfish. Okay. Don't do a fall wedding. I missed the Miami Notre Dame game. I was incredibly mad about it.
Oh, that's right. The wedding was on Sunday night.
It was on Sunday night.
Okay.
Because
Oh, you want me to tell you what happened?
Did Carrie Underwood sing
no-
I
before
had
the
to
wedding?
go-
Notre Dame forgot about their running back who likes to hurdle. They threw a ton of screen passes. Miami, despite Mario Cristobal, found a way to win. And now all I got to hear about is that Miami is back. State of Florida football in college might be back.
yeah, Florida State and Miami. Well, see, I only watched the highlights, which is just so. And then I tried at the dance floor.
Yeah.
Okay, they had 2 TVs, and I was just like, hey,
Smart wedding.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
I go, hey,
They didn't
can
put
we-"
football in any of
No.
them. Then what's the point of having TVs?
Thank
What
you,
the hell
Jimmy.
else is on TV?
That's exactly what I.
The Rockies are terrible.
because they said that it would mess up the lighting of the dance floor if that they put a game on or if they turned on the TVs. And I was like, this is absolutely ridiculous. I need to watch my football.
That told you that Sunday night game usually is a great, exciting game.
Yeah.
and everyone is watching.
Mhm.
If you want to like showcase your program, I would ask to play the Sunday night of week number 1. I was a little bit curious why we didn't have any football yesterday, but I was not really curious on Major League Baseball not having a national game on Labor Day. But I would have liked to have 2 yesterday instead of the 1 last night. But great weekend of college football. Some won, some lost. And now we're on to Akron around here.
Heard it
Now,
here first.
the one thing about this weekend in college football that I am over, and we still have a lot of college football to go and a lot of weekends. Okay, Cody Campbell. I don't need you on my TV anymore. Okay, you got a lot of money. You are bankrolling Texas Tech.
Guns up.
Okay, whatever this broadcasting thing is, let's get it figured out, broadcasters. Okay, because I don't need to see this every Saturday. Also, I'm actually thinking about this today. I have been a lifetime State Farm insurance customer.
You're out.
My parents were State Farm customers. My dad still is.
Mhm.
And so they kind of said, you're going to have State Farm insurance for everything.
Well, they're like a good neighbor.
Not great with hurricane insurance.
Mm.
But I think I'm going to call my State Farm insurance today. His name's Andy. Nice guy. Never met him in person, but he's been my agent for a long time.
Okay.
But that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Megan Trainor is going to force me to get rid of my State Farm. So that I didn't like this weekend. And whether you're a fan of his or not, the tarred and feathered that happened last night in Chapel Hill. Ooh, what a way to end
Nice
the
headline.
weekend. Yes, and also check out TCU's social media, their football
no.
account. They are absolutely savage on what they've been doing. Whoever is behind that deserves a raise. But other than that, it was a great weekend of college football. And you know what? Now, boys and girls, we are about to enter where everything intersects, where you say goodbye to your significant other for a while. You plant your on the couch because high school football, NFL, and college football all are colliding. Some would say it's the best time of the year. I won't say it's the best month, but in my power rankings, it is in the top 3
Of months? Ooh.
of sports months.
Of sports months, without a doubt.
Yeah.
I thought you were just, well, here's the thing. If we're just power ranking months, it's so sad. If we were just doing, hey, what are Matt McMaster's favorite months? It literally just would revolve around what are the best sport months and like what are the best things to watch. That Megan Trainor commercial got old after the second time.
Yeah.
And it sucks because I actually love Megan Trainor and
Yeah.
I think she's great. Do you know who she's married to?
I do not. Not
Okay.
Patrick Mahomes, who
Hunter
she's in the
Pence?
commercial with.
No. So do you guys know the Spy Kid movies?
Hunter Pence?
Yeah, that was
That's
a very
random.
weird, just out there.
I've been gone 50 days. There's just
Hunter
the
Pence?
person that I talk to doesn't talk back yet.
I like how you just have a bunch of random outfielders probably in your head that you just want to like put out on the air.
Wait till
We could have a
yeah.
really good run of random San Francisco Giant outfield.
It would be well, Yastrzemski's killing it for the Royals. So what I watched, she's married. Have you seen Spy Kids? Have
No.
you seen Spy Kids? Have you seen Spy Kids? It'd be a great
No,
it'd
but
be
I
a
know the
great-
director is from San Antonio.
It'd be a great movie for the baby. It's an incredible movie. She's married to
So
the
is Die Hard.
this actor. His name, I don't know his real name, but the guy who plays Junie in Spy Kids, he's
Mhm.
like the best character in the movie. He only ever did Spy Kids and never did anything else. Like he never like accomplished
That's like
anything
Charlie from
else
Willy
as an
Wonka.
actor. A little like Macaulay Culkin did a little bit after Home Alone, but this guy really didn't do anything after Spy Kids. He's married
He's
to
in this
Megan
season of
Trainor.
Fallout.
Megan Trainor and him together, they have the cutest little kid. He's like a redhead. So I'm a big fan of Megan Trainor
Daryl
because of it.
Sabara.
Yes,
He's they've been married for 7 years.
he's awesome. But that commercial was terrible. And I was thinking the entire time, there is no way that this is supposed to last the entire college football season.
If it is, man, Andy, you're gonna be getting a call at State Farm and go, but we haven't raised your rates. We've actually dropped your rates. And I'm like, no, a Megan Trainor commercial is going to drive me through the
It's
roof.
amazing. That's what did it.
And then the Cody Campbell is the Wisconsin Supreme Court of the college football season. I mean,
I don't know to that extent because that one airs on every network.
the Cody Campbell one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Was
The
it
Wisconsin one was just like if you were watching FS1.
yeah. Was it really airing on like CBS and
Everything.
NBC?
Yep,
Oh,
everything.
really? Oh, that's
Yeah.
terrible.
The guy has more money than God, and he spent money to promote the Broadcasting Act, which I have no idea what that is. I should go back to common law and go, hey, remember the Broadcasting Act 3246 that this guy 30 years later is going to be telling me about. But there were winners, there were losers, and now we're on to Akron around here. I wish Belichick last night would have said we're on to Charlotte. Coming up on the show, we'll be on to Sam McEwen coming up at 7:30. Sam stops by. He'll have a thought or two about Cincinnati. I think Sam just made it back with all of us, or made it out of the parking lot for some down in Kansas City. Also, Brian Christopherson stops by. Andy Kendi. That is the lineup brought to you by the Rooferys at John Higgins Weather Guard. We are on to Akron. And if you are wondering, because I know you are,
I am.
the weather looks fantastic. There is not a hint of rain on Saturday night.
Hoodie and shorts.
Compared to what happened 7 years ago, that fateful night. Night game, 6:30 kickoff in Lincoln, 64 at kickoff, according to my meteorology friends in Omaha, 56 by the end of the game. When they put on the light show between the third and fourth quarter, it's going to be hoodie and short weather.
Yes.
So the weather is going to be fantastic for a bad football team coming into Lincoln. And I mean a bad football team.
That's their problem.
Do not spend this week telling me that, they're bad. They didn't score against Wyoming.
Are you saying that I don't have to watch tape? I don't have to grind tape? I don't have to.
I mean, they did hold
Are you
Wyoming
a
to 10.
tape grinder? Is that going to be your thing?
Well, I've rewatched the Cincinnati-Nebraska game, and I watched it on the big TV in the family room, and I watched every snap, and I kind of took a note for just about every snap, and my roommate got really, really mad about it because he was just like, what do you do? I was like pausing and pausing and unpausing and pausing. He literally goes to me, you're not making the game plan. You're not like getting ready for Akron.
Hey,
anything.
Zapruder,
Like,
can we
why are
watch
you-"
this?
Yeah. He was like, why are you just play the game? I'm like, no, I have to take my notes. I like film. I'm in all seriousness, I'm not gonna grind Zips film. There's no benefit.
Well, let's see. They're
me
bad on
watching
third
Akron.
down. They can't run the football. Wyoming, who is not very good, only scored 10, but did not give up a point. And Nebraska. Vegas is smart. The line is, we can get anywhere from 33 to 35. It kind of feels, this isn't my prediction, by the way, but I'm going to throw it out there on Tuesday morning at 6:20. This feels like a 42-7 game.
Is it just one of those things you woke up and you're like, you just kind of look at a matchup and you just feel a
They
certain
get
score?
7.
I don't. Nebraska's not really built to blow people out, which is, I don't think every game is 17-16 like Rule was alluding to yesterday, but they're not a team that, I don't see Nebraska put up a USC number like 73. Now they're not playing the FCS. Well, I guess Missouri State is now FBS. It feels like a 42-7 type game, but I'm not going to fret at all this week over this game. And if I'm fretting Saturday night, that does not bode well.
Oh, no.
If you believe, and I truly do, that Nebraska grows and there is growth and they made it through the first week and they make the jump from week 1 to week 2, don't overthink Saturday night.
I couldn't agree more. I think Saturday is definitely one of those games because, it is unfortunate that Akron is as bad as they are. And
why is that unfortunate?
Well, because
by the way, they are an SP plus. They are 132.
Remember,
in the
I said
athletic,
that's
they're
their
133.
I was saying though, I would like Nebraska to play a little bit of a better team because I think that if you could play an FCS team that can give you a fight at least for a quarter or
Alabama
2
looks
quarters,
beatable.
or just like, North Dakota gave a fight to Kansas State the entire way. They
They'll
only
never
won
go to
38
Ireland.
35. Yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like I would like them to have a little bit of a fight to iron out a little bit of things.
No, they
to,
will.
like,
They
be a
will.
little
They will give
slightly
them some
competitive.
challenges, but it should not be a fretter.
It's 34.5 is the
Okay.
spread. The over under is 47.5, which I do like.
I
the
wouldn't
over.
touch that. I
do like the over. You are right in the fact that, and we kind of talked a bit about it on Friday with Nebraska not having the guys that can necessarily hit their head on the goalpost because they're so fast and they can just run across everybody. Like they really don't give off the vibe that they can just put up 65 points against a team, despite the fact that they're not, like, Akron is not good at all. But I do think it'll be and we'll talk about it like when you rewatch the film of Cincinnati, Nebraska, like what is something that like surprises you. I do think you're going to see a lot of bodies being thrown around from Nebraska, that they're just going to be able to completely bully Akron and kind of do whatever
Yeah.
the hell they want. And I think that will be encouraging and good for the conference.
Well, I think there's a phrase that came out this weekend is everybody's got $20.5 million to spend on their roster. Akron does not have $20.5 million to spend on their roster. Okay. So this is on the schedule for a reason, and it's on you to take care of business. Okay. It's not on you to dance with a team that is clearly very, very far away from where you are or want to be. So I just think 42-7. Don't overthink this. Don't overthink this. And a beautiful night for football. First night that beer can be sold in the stadium.
It'll keep you warm.
Could be
'cause you'll
crazy.
cold.
I like
Could be a crazy Saturday in Lincoln.
Oh, it's going to be an incredible Saturday. So Dannon went on, he had the nightly interview last week, and he was talking about how 121,000 was a very specifically curated number. There's a reason why they're at 121,000. It was thought of, and that he's not threatened at all by the idea that they might run out of beer and that Nebraska fans would buy every beer that's available. I can't subscribe to that. I don't know, for whatever reason. I don't really care that apparently 121,000 is a very specific number. I still think that Husker
visits.
Yes, Husker fans are still. It's going to be pretty damn close. I'm not calling a sellout on beer, but I do think it might come down to the
Everything's coming together. The cool weather. You're going to feel a little cold. You need to warm up a little more.
The
That's extra,
excitement.
yeah.
It'll be sold out.
And then people will realize how much it costs you, and you'll be like, you know what, that parking lot before. Now, here's what'll change is you can't leave and come back.
Yeah.
So they've changed that, which is wild. Excuse me. That Nebraska was one of the last schools to have that. Nebraska was one of the last schools to have that, and that they finally stepped in and said, yeah, the re-entry, where, a lot of people went out to the parking lot at halftime and, filled up their flask and brought it back in. Now you got to stay in the stadium. Or if you're leaving, you're never coming back. Now, if that's the case, then I think that bodes well for Nebraska. A lot of people don't come back after halftime, but you're going to miss the light show.
Why does that bode well for Nebraska?
Because that means you're up by a lot.
It's a blowout.
Oh, okay. I think they need to put signs, right, all across the stadium that says no re-entry or anything like that. Like,
I think they probably do with the entry and exit gates.
Okay. Because I think that's incredibly important, because that is something, by the way, that we just kind of blew by, that it felt like that just happened.
Mhm.
And then not a lot of people talked about. I mean, it was a very, I don't want to say weird, but like, and I don't want to say it was like a hallmark thing that Nebraska football did. Like, I don't think everybody.
I think it was just they were one of the last ones that either still allowed or at any point allowed people to come and go at halftime or at any point during the game.
I just think that there might be
You don't hear that anywhere else.
some older folk who haven't been on Twitter this offseason, who weren't there to find out and react to the fact that you can't leave Memorial Stadium at halftime. And so for those people's sake, I really hope they just have massive signs everywhere.
If you
saying,
have
"Please don't
tickets, you know about it, because
Yeah.
it was clear when you got your tickets that there were some different policy changes. All right, you got the lineup. It is post-Cincinnati. Grinder over here is broken down the film.
I don't want that to be my nickname. I don't want
Grinder. Why did they call you Grinder?
Are you going to be part of the 33rd team that took a big L last night in Chapel Hill?
No, I'm not going to be a part of the 33rd team. I thought you were talking about the website, which I'm pretty sure there's like a football writing
Yeah,
website
that's
called the 33rd
so North
team.
Carolina refer to themselves as the 33rd team.
See, that is
But not the 7th floor crew.
They had a quarterback that went 2 hours in real time without completing a pass last
that
night.
was an incredible stat, and I haven't seen anything like. Well, I mean, it's been a while since I've seen something where it's like they're using real time to tell you like
I
what
really
the hell is
didn't miss
going on
anything.
out there. Did you? I hope you didn't see my tweet after the first North Carolina drive, because I don't delete tweets. But it was kind of embarrassing, because I tweeted out it would be incredible if North Carolina is this year's Indiana after one drive.
16-0.
How funny would it be if North Carolina just continued to play the same way throughout the entirety of the game, and they were absolutely dominant, all because Bill Belichick was their coach? Like, that would be awesome. And then
Well,
they were
Jerry and Jimmy
terrible.
gotten along.
I'm curious on this, and they can't waste. They got a gift of a schedule in North Carolina for this season. They're not getting the Bill Belichick of old. They're getting the Bill Belichick who had some personnel issues trying to figure out talent. I have no idea what they were seeing in the quarterback room. I know Max Johnson was coming back from a major broken leg, and he had 5 surgeries. And a great story last night, his touchdown passes to his brother in a game where Herb Street's dog was putting on a headset. That's how bad it got. And the stadium looked like it was a COVID game. But
Damn, I should have stayed up.
I mean, it's almost like what happened with North Carolina last night. Unless you were glazing with ESPN, it's to be expected. TCU is a good football team. TCU and Utah are 2 of the better teams I saw all weekend. So you had 70 new guys, and you had Bob Diaco preaching strain. He's on your staff. Kind of what happened last night is not a surprise.
Well,
but, I mean, TCU is a good football team, and they heard all the chatter. They definitely brought it up at the end of the game, and then they had a player. I mean, how long does Bill want to do this? I know he's kind of oblivious to the outside, but you have a player in TCU's locker room is busting on him and his girlfriend. People are saying, hey, when it was 41-7, did you know that Bill Belichick was 41 when Jordan Hudson was 7? They were like, do you know that Max Johnson is the same age as Belichick's girlfriend? All of this stuff. He went from being like a Goldberg walk out of the locker room to being a punching bag. I mean, why are you here, Bill? The NFL and college football for what you want to do is so different. It just, I wasn't surprised. Maybe the margin, but not surprised that TCU beat them. That line was like stinky. That's like the Illinois Duke week 2 line right now.
It was one of your picks on Friday for when we did our pick thing. You called it. I actually re-listened to the thing because I was trying to do the math of how we did and how we didn't.
Plus 2 for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I only went 1 for 3 last week because, damn, Baylor, man, what the hell?
Oh, learn yourself some Jackson Arnold post Oklahoma.
Said that a lot.
He looked pretty good.
He looked really good running the football. And then also, too, I mean, Clemson, we'll talk about the Clemson game later, but that really made me mad as well. I think, look, first off, it kind of made me a little upset that we were all sitting there and we were talking about Bill Belichick so much and we didn't bring up Josh Hoover at all until he absolutely carved up that North Carolina defense and he looked really, really good, even though that he's by far one of the best returning quarterbacks.
That's why Tennessee made a play in the offseason for him.
I mean,
and he said, no, I'm staying in Fort Worth.
I don't blame them. I mean, he was really good last year. He returns this year to TCU. He looked really, really good yesterday, and we didn't talk about him at all. All we talked about was Jordan Hudson in North Carolina and Bill Belichick.
Well, that makes sense before the game because Belichick is the story leading up to that game.
Yeah.
And then kickoff happens and you talk ball and you're like, yeah, TCU is the story.
How embarrassing, though, is it for Bill Belichick and North Carolina in general for them to have Aaron Boone there and Lawrence Taylor there? And
of all the people that were there, Aaron Boone is the first one.
I didn't even know he was there.
I'm just going down the Rolodex.
Michael Jordan, Lawrence Taylor.
I'm leaving the best for last. I was just going
James Worthy.
Boone?
Yeah, they showed him. Well, it just stuck with me when he was there, when they show Aaron Boone. I'm like, oh.
In uniform?
Aaron Boone is, no, he wasn't. He was in a hoodie. But I'm like, out of all the people who were there, I mean, Randy Moss was there.
Yeah.
And like, by the time you get to halftime, you have to have Fowler go, yeah, there's a lot of blue here, but it's not because people are here. It's because the seats are blue, right? And to bring all those famous people there to have like celebrity row, and then they all just left at halftime.
It's funny when
it
it's
was
not
so
you.
Embarrassing.
Not a surprise. I wonder when Jordan left because they showed that box right after North Carolina's first touchdown, and I think they showed it one more time. But I wonder when Jordan said, why am I here?
Probably after the first quarter. I think everybody was sitting there. And when it was like 27-20 after that 75-yard run to begin the second quarter, and they were probably saying to themselves, this is North Carolina football. We haven't skated a North Carolina sporting event unless it's a basketball game.
But what a great weekend of football. Great weekend of football. Lots to break down as we have another week of football that includes Thursday night football. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday football. We are spoiled when it comes to football. We will talk about local football because they always say, I think it was Shakespeare, or it might have been one of the great philosophers that said you cannot move forward until you look back.
You mean Matthew McConaughey in that one Lincoln commercial?
Nope, I would not consider him a philosopher of back in the day of like Shakespeare.
I would consider him a philosopher.
Yeah.
I would too.
We will talk about, before we get into Akron, Cincinnati, because that was a discussion yesterday down in Lincoln. What does it mean going forward? Also to be 1-0. How about that? To enjoy the weekend of football. Didn't have to fret You're like, man, they're not as good. They're bad. They're better. He's good. We got the better quarterback. Do all of that. We'll talk about Cincinnati. What does it mean going forward into this homestand? Nebraska doesn't leave Memorial Stadium until the 11th of October. Just think about that. An opportunity at hand for Nebraska. An opportunity for all of you to get involved in the program on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline, 402-951-1620. Those are the digits to chat if you weren't able to get in over the weekend. Let's discuss some ball, y'all, on 1620 The Zone. Hope everybody had a good, safe, enjoyable Labor Day. Work hard, relax harder. My brother used to think that first Monday in September was dedicated to moms.
Today's my mom's birthday.
Really, happy
Yes.
birthday, Mom!
Happy birthday, Mom.
I just recognized that. I forgot it.
Did you just throw yourself
didn't
under the bus?
Did you just see her? Was
Oh,
she out there at that wedding?
I saw her yesterday.
okay.
Yes.
You
And I-
Oh,
did not wish her a happy
well,
birthday.
I told her 2 days ago. I was like, oh my God, your birthday's in 2 days. Like I did, like, I don't know, September 2nd.
Trust me,
it
when we get
just-
older, we know.
I feel like September 2nd in general is just a date, just sneaks up on you. It just comes out of nowhere. Like you're
maybe a little bit.
like you're enjoying summer. Summer
deep.
just ended. You got Labor Day. Now you're just, oh my God, it's the beginning of September. Like it just kind of hit you on the side of the head, like a football if you're running a bad route. It's her birthday. So happy birthday to my mother.
This wouldn't happen. if you
Sounds
ran
like a
the ball.
bad throw.
Well, maybe you didn't get your head around quick enough on an out route, and you got to turn, or it's like you were on the wrong route.
Not everybody can catch passes from Patrick Mahomes. But my brother, so happy birthday to your mom. My brother used to, when he was younger, before he became much smarter, sharp of anybody, he said, I think you get a double Mom's Day. And my mom would be like, what? He goes, isn't Labor Day for moms because they go into labor?
Oh,
And so it's a reward for all of the work that you did. And I thought, Jesus, you are such a suck up at that age. I mean, what are you fishing for that you're trying to tell mom that she should get 2 Mom's Days because one should be dedicated to when she birthed me, not you, because you're adopted.
okay, that's rude. That's mean. Okay. Secondly, though,
Why?
did you?
I knew where it
Why?
was going,
know.
but I just
There was a little bit of stretch where I probably, looking back, was probably mean because I went and bought a book and it said, you're not, well, it did not say you're not ours, but my parents waited to tell my brother that he was adopted. Now
Okay.
I'm a huge fan of my brother. We have a great relationship. I think adoption is fantastic. It was great for my family,
Mhm.
but there was a little bit of a stretch where he was getting a lot of attention. Even the cat was paying more attention to my brother that I went and got a book. It said, you're adopted.
When did the flood? What
I was the
age-
one that broke the news. Oh, that was not a good summer
Really?
So that probably
I
didn't
was
end
gonna-
well for you.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask what that
because I was ticked off. They
I-
didn't come to one of my baseball games because he had something. And I was like, oh, we're gonna have some speaks.
Was it a hallmark moment for you when you told your brother that
This
he
is
was
actually the
adopted
opposite
and he
of
had
the
to
hallmark.
find that out?
Now, granted, he was like 6,
Okay.
so it was a little bit confusing.
Did he was he putting 2 and 2 together before you laid it? No, he had no clue.
No, because they waited. I
Yeah.
kind of fast forwarded the sit down that my mom and dad had with my brother and explained that it's okay. Your biological mom loves you. We love you as well. It makes it no different.
Do
I
you-
overheard it while I was grounded in my bedroom.
Did you hand him the book?
Yes.
So like that's how you told him?
Yeah, I go, hey, look at this.
Story time.
Now he's 6, so he's just kind of starting to read.
That's really funny. I actually think that would be an incredible way to like give bad.
My backside did not feel that way back then, but
I think that'd be
Those
an
were the
incredible
times.
way to give bad news to people. Like as opposed to just telling people
Get 'em
just
a
bad,
book.
just always get them a book with the title that like insinuates what's about to happen.
Hey,
Hey.
pal, you have ALS.
hey, here's the Bible. You're going to want to read
That's
because
fair.
this is what's going to happen. All right. Welcome back in, Gary and Matt, with Jimmy. Sam McEwen's coming up in less than an hour. We'll get to our 3 best things we saw over the extended weekend or heard coming up here in a moment. So Cincinnati is over. We've had the cinematic recap. They are back. Production team in Lincoln. Banger.
So good.
What and I think we'll see how long we go referencing some of the more of the things that happened on Thursday night. But I think we have to ask the question, what does Cincinnati mean moving forward? Something, nothing, game 1, you get better between game 1 and game 2.
I think it means a lot. And I think it means a lot because of how they won. Because of them making the big I got into an argument with somebody over the weekend.
Shock.
Um
Did you win?
Did you at least take it
this
to
one,
7?
Yes.
Because if you
This-
didn't win, you would pout.
I'm not a powder. And
if you don't win an argument, you pout.
I'm competitive. I'm trying to, I'm good at having a convo. Okay. I'm good. Come on. I'm good at, I understand.
I just watched like Happer wind you into a, like he winds him up, and then like Matt does not know how to react.
That Happer does push my buttons, and
it's revenge for the whole barbecue thing that you had slander against me and him, and the emails and
the Joe's barbecue.
Oh yeah, so I knew he was taking it personal.
Now we have something different.
Well, so what I was saying is that if I think I'm a good conversationalist, and I can listen to people and I can understand their points, and I can say, okay, I agree with that. I'll back off, right? I'm not like Nick Wright, where it's like I'm not willing to like never be wrong. At the same time, though, if you make a stupid statement, I will absolutely try and win an argument, and I will not back down because it was a stupid statement.
Ooh.
And one of the stupid statements that I heard was everything was the exact same. Everything, like Nebraska's win against Cincinnati, looked the exact same to what it's been over the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, wait. They made the big play, did they not? They're like, yeah, other than the interception, it looks the exact same. And I'm like, you mean other than them doing the thing that they haven't been able to do, which has caused them to lose over and over again? You mean them fixing the biggest problem they have, it looks the same? No, it's not the same. They made the big play. They finally had the INT. They finally were able to close a game out when it looked like it was destined for Cincinnati to score a touchdown on that drive and absolutely break Nebraska's heart.
We wait so long to have one game, and then we overreact to games. A little bit of a conundrum of some of the things that happened in that game, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I think what has to happen in year 3, and people ask me right away after watching Thursday night, are you changing your prediction, which I gave on Thursday, which is 9-3, and I said, no, I am not. There clearly is growth in this program, but they can't have like off weeks. The standard has to change where you look at a game where you're a 6.5-point favorite, and Nebraska throughout the game was the better team. Okay. But it's those games that Nebraska loses that you go, they're the better team. I looked at the box score and they were winning a lot of the key numbers, but they found a way to lose. Now they found a way in 2 straight games to win 1-score games. I wish, and maybe he's got definitely a better handle on his team. I wish Rule would have said this, because I listened to Signetti. They didn't win by a lot over ODU, but you look at that box score and you go, whoa, they should have won. They should have put up a 50 burger on ODU. I wish he would have said it wasn't the win we wanted. Because I said this when I said 31-14 on Thursday. A lot of people in that program thought they would come out and play really, really well. Like they would be crisp, and it wouldn't be so much what Cincinnati was doing. It would be what Nebraska was doing. At the end of the day, they did the little things better than they've done in the past across the board. There's some things you can't ignore, but the standard has to change. We won, but this is the way that we wanted to win.
I agree with that, because I was listening to him talk about special teams yesterday, and him
kind of caught people off guard.
Yeah, and I loved it.
But he was right. They should have.
Oh, they should have.
They should have blocked.
Yeah, they should have blocked that one punt. But like, I was sitting there and I was listening to him talking about special teams, and I think it was a little refreshing in a way for him to say, "Yeah, we made a 52-yard field goal. We should make 52-yard field goals. Like that's the standard of this program. Yeah, we didn't make mistakes, and we didn't muff a punt, and we didn't shoot ourselves in the foot. That's what we expect to do." And I think that there could be a benefit to him saying, "Hey, we are quietly confident, and this is our standard, and we didn't reach our standard." But I do think he communicated that a little bit where, he talked about the defense. Hey, they played well, but they got to be faster, right? Talked about the offense. Hey, we're going to take what's in front of us. We're going to be happy with having, but we still have some things we have to clean up in terms of the running back room. So I do think there is kind of that mix of, he didn't fully go out and say, hey, we did not play up to our standard at all, or we didn't play the way we wanted to. But I do think he insinuated it in a way that they do have to play better football. And they are not a team, and I don't think they were a team, and I think they proved it on on Thursday, they're not a team that can just walk in and beat a lesser opponent in the Big Ten. They just can't walk in and beat Maryland. They just can't walk in and beat Northwestern.
Yeah, I agree with that. There's only a couple of those teams in the league that can do it.
Yeah.
But is Nebraska standard Maryland?
No, God, no.
Yeah, that's why the standard has to change where, yes, you never apologize for a win because winning is hard. I mean, ask, what would there be, 279 teams this weekend if winning is hard.
Yeah.
But it's now, if you use the phrase, we're a pretty damn good football team, it wasn't the win we wanted. But you'll take it. You're not going to apologize, and you make sure that Cincinnati doesn't becomes an outlier where we don't keep referencing the Cincinnati game going, oh, we should have seen that. Because what did we do last year about wide receivers that couldn't get off man coverage at the line of scrimmage? We're like, oh, we saw that against UTEP. Should have known that. There were times defensively last year we went, ooh, look what Northern Iowa did. We should have seen this coming. You hope that Cincinnati becomes, hey, we had a great time at Arrowhead. Tons of red there. Kansas City was great, but we don't talk about Cincinnati other than it's 1-0.
It shouldn't be. If the Cincinnati game is the highlight of the season,
oh, brother, if the Cincinnati game is the highlight of your season,
things went terribly wrong.
Harper Murray better have a fantastic year. That's what I'm saying. All right, we'll have more. Sam McEwen's coming up in 30 minutes because I'm getting this couple of quick little emails. Some of the issues on Thursday night were predictable. Yeah, I think Nebraska would have benefited from, hey, playing a preseason game. They may have. All right, top 3 things over the extended weekend that we saw or heard. It's become a daily feature.
Micah Parsons got traded to the Green Bay Packers, and we haven't talked about it with our friend over there. But
who are these Cowboys? What are you talking about?
There was a 4-year-old who was really, really upset that his favorite player got traded from his favorite team, and it was recorded and was posted on social media of him crying about it. Micah Parsons was able to get his number and FaceTime him.
Oh, that's cool.
And so that was a really, really awesome moment for the kid, even though it's still kind of awkward. The kid's like, you still don't play for the Cowboys anymore. But that was a really cool moment. You brought it up, the Nebraska football sights and sounds. What a great video. Like, it was just awesome. Like, I just loved, like, it wasn't a whole lot of like mic'd up and guys like talking and whatnot. It was just football pads and helmets being hit. And it was just literally just the popping. Oh, it was so beautiful. And then I know this video is, I think it's like 2 years old, but I just have to get it out there because it was the best thing that I saw over the weekend. There's this video of Marshawn Lynch doing the voiceover of Darth Vader from A New Hope. And like, it's just, they just cut out Vader's, like, just all of his voice. And it's just Marshawn Lynch going, for sure, homie. And it was just like, over like of Darth Vader. It is, I have to show you the video. It was so funny. So I found it. That was the best thing I saw.
Couple of things, and there was a lot this weekend. The Cyhawk Showdown is in Ames on Saturday. Big Fox, the pregame's going to be there. Dave Portnoy, I'm sure we'll talk about Casey's Pizza.
I'm sure.
But Iowa State play. Iowa State 2-0. Rocco back. Hello. Ben Bramer. Iowa State, for the first time in 30 years, brought back the helmet car. If you know, you know, back in the day. So they have a helmet car. That was fantastic. Also, great weekend for Class A Nebraska teams that either jumped outside of the state or welcomed somebody in. Millard South went to Las Vegas, and they beat the number 2 team in Class 5A in Vegas, Arborview. They hammered them. I was texting back and forth with a couple of Millard South parents, and I said, what's the chatter from people in Vegas? And their first response was, man, them boys are big. What do you feed them boys in Nebraska?
That's awesome.
And Millard South is a large team, and we all know that they are loaded. And this is their year. I mean, they're going to have to replace a ton of talent next year, but this, in the moment, they were impressive. But people in Vegas were like, big. And then also Creighton Prep So Creighton Prep last year went down to St. Louis and played DeSmet, who was the Class 6A champion in the state of Missouri. So DeSmet came up to Prep, and they played on campus over on 72nd Street, which I think the last time they played was an anniversary game when Noah Fant was playing at South. I think Prep and South played there, but Prep, their home field is Burke. They jumped up big. DeSmet came back, tied the game at 35, and then Prep pulled out the victory, and they won the game. Last year, they got beat 48-7. This year, they won against one of the better teams in the state of Missouri. So kudos to Prep and Millard South stepping outside of the state. And then the last one is one that hits close to home because I've gotten an opportunity to know him, and I've tried to get him jobs, but he will not leave. He loves Council Bluffs. There was a great, great moment this weekend. First of all, Iowa Western football beat Georgia Military 39-20. They are off this weekend. They go on the road next weekend to number 1 Hutchinson, who they played in the national championship for junior college football last year. But the 39-20, and also put on your docket, Daniel Swinney, who is from Louisville, who is a running back. He was at Garden City, transferred to Iowa Western, ran for 200 bills, 4 scores. But the story of what happened over at Lewis Central on Saturday has to do with one of the great football minds. I love him. I consider him a friend. Again, I've tried to get him jobs, get him bigger jobs, but he loves Iowa Western. Iowa Western is good to him. Scott Strohmeyer, that game meant a lot to him because if people know Stroh, his daughter, Emily, who was 22 years old, was 10 days away from getting a kidney transplant and passed away this past spring. And they had a special moment, really organ donor awareness and a tribute to M on Saturday. And I'm sure that Josh Odson, who is part of the Iowa Western broadcast crew, will speak more of it during middays. But a great moment, great tribute to the Strohmeyers. They're fantastic people. And I know it meant a ton to him to see all the people that showed up that were dressed in a specific color, and that he got to tell the story of his wonderful daughter, Emily, who we lost 22 years of age back in May. And so great Iowa Western won. Great that the Strohmeyers had a fantastic day. All right, Sam McEwen is coming up in the next half hour. Brian Christopherson will stop by. Also, Andy Kendi. Today's coordinator day in Lincoln.
I don't think I'm going to go down for coordinator day in Lincoln today. Sorry.
You won't go. John Butler, how many games do you think it's going to take you to get comfortable as a DC? Because I think John Butler is a defensive back mind. It's pretty high level. I think it's going to take a little bit for him to get into the DC role.
No, I'm just, I'm
you
not
want to ask that question?
No, I'm not going to go there and ask that question. But, whatever question I would have asked, I'm sure it would have been met with great question.
Or you say, Dana, how come your head coach knows nothing about running backs and running back rotation?
That actually would be a question that I would ask him.
Good job on Rule being transparent, letting his OC cook. All right, 1 hour in the books, another one to go. Gary and Matt with Jimmy at 1620 The Zone. All right, good morning to all of you. You're listening because you did not win the Powerball, which now on Wednesday goes to at least $1.3 billion.
I asked the Casey's that I go to, I asked the guy
Yeah.
if they've ever sold any winners. I was like, you guys sell winners here? And he goes, I started working here about 3 months ago. All I've ever seen somebody win is $15. And I'm like, that's not what you're supposed to say. like
No, I love the honesty. I love when you go to a restaurant and you say, what do you think is good? Like I went to a local steakhouse and great waiter. Now he was dressed as a monk, kind of gives away where I was at.
Gee, I
Sure.
wonder.
Um,
Texas Roadhouse it was.
Red Lobster?
no, somebody at the table goes, what do you recommend? And he rattled out the things he would not recommend. And I'm like, I like that. I appreciate that. So I like the honesty, but anybody that sells a ticket, I don't know what the percentage is, but
Sure.
it's like it's significant. You also get rewarded if you're a store that sells the winning ticket.
I did not know
Yeah.
that.
Oh, yeah, that's
Is
a big deal.
it like a percentage of like maybe like a 2% or something like that?
Then they put
my
something
God.
outside the window so
Oh.
that you see that they did it there.
There's a place maybe on West O that has sold a lot of winners that actually has it up. It's not a Casey's. It's one of the convenience stores that is on West O.
Email me.
The Mixed Sportsbook took a hit this week massively, so I don't think I'll be gambling on the lottery.
All it takes is
this
$1.
week. Yeah, I'm
Just
okay.
$1.
I'm fine. I don't need to be sweating numbers on my TV. Do they still do the local drawing where you see the numbers
I
on
don't
the
think
and they show
I
it?
don't
That's classic.
think so.
I
That-
used to love the
that used to
Illinois
be-
lottery.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
and then as a kid, Terry Rich would be on my TV at 9:59 at night, right before the 10 o'clock news.
Good luck, everybody.
Wait,
And he'd
they
be
don't-
getting. They do it, but it's not on
Yeah.
over-the-air TV.
Oh my
Yeah.
God,
I think it's
that
online.
was-
I think you can watch it online.
It
Yeah.
was. I'm pretty sure
like the
there,
Cubs on WGN. It's kind of a metaphor.
there was a woman who just growing up, she was always the lottery girl, and she
Yeah.
would do it, and it was awesome, and it was electric. I mean, I think that might have inspired. That might have given me my first lick of gambling and created
Well,
me
you
into
know,
what I was.
if we
Thought you
would
were
have
gonna say
if we would
going
have
on.
listened
Media.
to Lee Corso, who had a
Mm.
great weekend. And, you know, it's tough seeing the sun set the way it did, but it was a great sunset. And they had the largest window of viewing ever in the history of game day. If you would have done a 16 parlay with Corso's picks, you would have won. If you put $100 down, you would have won $10,000. There
Damn it.
was a reporter from Sports Illustrated that actually went and did that.
Good for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
What did they bet
so
on?
Corso went 6 for 6 in his picks. I mean, I thought, okay, Alabama over Florida State. No. Corso said Florida State's going to win. I mean, were they really? And all the teams that Corso has been involved with,
Yeah.
all won as well.
Mhm.
That's
What
incredible.
what a great way for him to go out.
I want to know the Sports Illustrated guy. I mean, $10 would have won you $1,000 if you did that parlay. That's incredible. There were some like memes on Instagram before the Corso thing of like people were going to be crying, and they did the whole like girlfriend skit where the girlfriend is asking, "Why are you crying? Why are you sobbing at the TV?"
I was
Like,
crying in
who
my
is-
house, but
like
not that kind.
who is Lee Corso? That actually happened to me. It's incredible when life imitates art. That happened to me with my father. My father was crying
Yeah.
when he was watching the final Lee Corso pick, and my mother was trying to tell us a story about this wedding. And apparently there was some wedding drama that went down with the stitching and the veil and some bridesmaid or whatever.
Oh,
And dad was like sobbing at the TV while she's telling the story, and he's like, and she's like, why are you crying? He's like, it's Lee Corso. It's a national treasure.
Wow.
That was a part of my morning for the last 25 years, just watching it.
was a wedding drama really good though?
I stayed out of it.
Oh no,
I-
that's
I-
fun to listen.
I didn't
Everybody
do
loves
that.
drama as long as they're
Apparently,
not
the
in it.
dress didn't originally fit, and then they had to bring in some seamstress, and then they figured it out and everything like that.
That's
The whole
humorless, right.
the whole wedding experience really made me realize, number one, how expensive weddings are, and
Hello.
the fact that I definitely don't want to have one in the foreseeable future.
Well, wait till you find out who actually pays for your wedding.
Well, I mean, in some instances, it's the parents of the bride, correct? But like, come on, I know that some of that will be coming out of my pocket. You got to think, right? I mean, it was we were at 2 different golf courses, 2 different
If I had
hotels.
that
I
kind
mean,
of foresight,
there was
I'd
a
win the
welcome
Powerball.
party, there was a reception, there was the ceremony. I was at the wedding, and I was like, "That's expensive. That's expensive. That's expensive."
Yeah.
I didn't say it out
You know,
loud.
there's sometimes where you
You
think
can
you're
finish
only
that
getting.
salt.
Sometimes when you think you're only going to do it once, and so you spend a lot of money for a destination wedding for people except for your party, and you rack up a large debt, and then you're like, you know what, divorce sounds pretty good. Part of the settlement is you get all of the wedding debt.
That's incredible.
real.
Actually, I did not know.
I had
that
a good
existed.
lawyer. It was me.
I
bury the lead. That's
wanted
it.
one of the best men. So there were too many speeches at this wedding, by the way.
Yeah.
Like we
Like the
don't,
Hall of Fame.
dude. We do not. There was 6 different speeches from 6 different people. I'm like, these 2 don't matter. Like they matter a lot, and I love Gabe and Haley, and
Any
they're
given
incredible.
Sunday speech.
But we don't need 6 people up here like we're in Canton, Ohio, talking about their incredible relationship and how they met on National Marquette Day. All right, I don't give a damn. All right, I'm just here for the steak and a good time. But anyway, I wanted one of the best men to be like, "Hey, thanks for coming, everybody. We'll see you at the next one." That would have been a great line.
How long do you think this marriage lasts?
Ooh, yeah, over under. Here we go.
I think the over-under is probably at 16 and a half years.
Whoa.
Mm.
Okay.
They're a good
That's
couple.
great.
They're a
Mhm.
good couple, but you never know nowadays. I mean, it's
I know. I
it's
just saw a Netflix documentary about that.
I know.
It can all blow up in
So-
your face.
16 and a half. I would take the over. But I think it's a fair line. You know, they met in college. I don't know if they had too much dating experience before they met each other, you know, so that's another factor into it as
This
well.
would be a great Take 5.
Is this their first?
This is their first wedding, both of
No,
them.
no, not their first wedding, but is it their first?
First,
Oh, no.
Okay.
No,
So
it's
they got a
not.
chance to have success.
But they both only had one relationship
Okay.
prior to being in this relationship. So they haven't necessarily maybe taken the bumps that you would take that might lead to a more like forgiving and fruitful marriage. But
this would be great bi-week Take 5.
but they are 29 years old. So
Okay.
they did definitely take their time.
I was
didn't-
29.
They didn't
Hey.
rush into the marriage.
No, fewer people are getting married, or they're waiting longer.
I
Take care
have
of yourself. Have some fun as a singler
Enjoy your
before
20s.
you settle down.
I
Enjoy
don't
the
know.
hell out of your 20s.
I think you're right, but there are a lot of people on my social media who are like getting married at like 21 and 22 years old.
Are they Amish?
And no, but they're very it's a very trendy thing. Honestly,
Like your
serious-
generation?
No, I'm being serious right now. There is a sect of Instagram, like an algorithm of Instagram where it's like you can find a lot of couple accounts, like cute little couple accounts of them like
Based
living
out of
together,
Utah.
and they're married and they're like 21 or 20 years old or 22 years old, and they're like they get married at like 19.
Damn.
So they're I don't know, maybe it's just like people are putting themselves out on the so you see it happening, you didn't know it was happening as regularly, or it might be a trend. Not me.
Wow.
Hey, a trend over the weekend that I'm sure that Cincinnati and Syracuse would like to end. So Cincinnati and Syracuse both played a home game this weekend. Did you notice that?
But wait, they weren't at home.
They weren't at home.
One played in Kansas City and the other played in Atlanta. Cincinnati, of course, played Nebraska. Syracuse played Tennessee. That seems to be being an alternate site
Knoxville and Atlanta, not far apart.
host. Yeah. Both Cincinnati and Syracuse went for the paycheck this weekend and both took an L.
well,
Tennessee looked good.
Syracuse got their butts whooped. Now with the
They
whole
have a whole bunch of guys.
if
will
you're
tell you
a
about it.
neutral because I don't know this, if you're a neutral site host, is there a lot of prepping that has to go into that because you are the home team compared to being the away team, like in terms of like operations people and organizing
Well,
things?
Didn't you cover
Chiefs-
this the other day?
Yeah, we talked about this on Friday morning. The Chiefs took care of 90% of the stuff.
Okay. So I was going to say, like, I don't know what the if there's a potential like pushback other than, hey, we're just like going to say we are the home team, but we're clearly not the home team. because
No,
the other
I don't
team
know
has
what
way more
the
fans
I
than
don't know
we
how
have.
much the Falcons took care of down at Mercedes-Benz. But the Chiefs took care of 90%. I mean, they got some things to work out in Kansas City because they're gonna try and do this again next year. And then as I, had a conversation on Thursday while we were away from the roundtable, man, the Nebraska officials that were down there from Dannon and the higher ups, they were blown away. And they're like we're going to do this again, but it's going to be probably in about 5 years because they have to work it into the schedule. And it has to fit where it's not week 0, but it's week 1. And I think Nebraska would like to play on Saturday, if that's possible. They didn't play on Saturday this year because the Royals' schedule was already set so that the Royals were playing at home. And, of course, you can't have the Royals and the Chiefs playing at home at the same time. So I would say probably in about 5 years, this will be revisited again, unless the strength of schedule changes and Nebraska can get out of a game and add a game. But I would say probably 5 years. But I think Nebraska is going back to Arrowhead.
They should.
And it'll the logistics will be a little bit different. Probably some of the kinks will be worked out. But I mean, other than the state of Missouri and construction, I don't know that anybody had a bad time.
A lot of people, I think, if Nebraska were to go back to Kansas City, would probably be leaving on that Wednesday as opposed to the
not
day
everybody
before
could.
the game.
I think the problem is Connor Happer made the wrong phone call. Okay, it's a quick trip. We stopped there on Friday.
It's a great quick trip.
By the way, I saw more back roads in Missouri trying to avoid construction before we ever got to St. Joe than I ever want to see in my life. But we stopped there. Oh, they had to make so much money over those 2 days. Like the donut case was out. The rollers were packed. But there was, people were lined up at the gas pumps everywhere. But I think Happer, and it's funny because they'll call him back today and say, hey, how'd it go? They called the wrong people to alert them of all the Nebraska fans. What they should have done is called Missouri DOT and said, here's the deal. I'm looking at my Waves map. You got 3 construction sites. Now, one of them you share with Iowa. You got 25,000 cars that are coming south. Okay. Do you think that maybe you could stop for like 2 days? Do you think you could give the boys and girls a day off for, give them an extra day for Labor Day and then come back on Tuesday? Because there was one stretch where the cones were out and there was nothing going on. Then there was another stretch where all they were doing was painting lines.
Wasn't it incredible?
Happer could have called the Missouri DOT and said, hey, I got to let you know, people are coming south. Maybe stop.
I don't mind construction when those boys are out there and they're working hard and they're slaving away and they're really making sure that you have proper asphalt and a safer road and whatnot. It was startling how useless some of that construction was.
It is Missouri.
Nobody was out there. Nobody was doing anything. You couldn't even look around. Like you'd go from 2 lanes to 1 lane, right? And you would look around and you couldn't even tell what they were actually trying to accomplish without the people being there. And then I got stopped like at one point on Wednesday when we were driving down. Barely anybody's on the road. It's not even close to the traffic rush that was
like
on
the
Thursday.
fuzz got you?
And we came to a full stop.
Oh.
We came to a full stop.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. They should never. Now,
like the radar detector? Oh, that like a fuzz buster?
No, the fuzz.
Oh, the police.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought he got pulled over.
I didn't see one police car out there.
We did. He was sneaky. He was sitting under an overpass in an SUV. But to be honest, of all the times I've driven that stretch, very rarely see Iowa State Patrol or Missouri State Patrol.
I
thought they'd be making money off Nebraskans.
I wish I knew that because I could, so I could blaze through.
Except you can't
Missouri.
because it's under construction.
Well, because I was going at the speed limit because I got 1 ticket. I never want to get a ticket again. I went to the Platte City QT yesterday.
Yeah.
And it was still packed. It was still incredible. I had 2 rollers. I had 2 taquitos. It was incredible. That and a Gatorade Light.
All right, coming up in a little bit, Sam McEwen will stop by. He has freshly turned in his AP ballot, so that's what we're waiting on. If you're wondering, no, they are not ranked. But Sam actually might be a ball knower.
Wow.
He dropped Alabama out of his poll. I hope more do when that's released today. If you are wondering, good on Sam. Ohio State is number 1. LSU is number 2 in his ballot. And he'll be here to explain himself in about 15 minutes on Gary and Matt on 1620 The Zone. All right, sometimes you got to explain yourself to your insurance agent. You go, man, our roof is taking a beating. Storms or just age. And your insurance company goes, that's too bad. And you're like, excuse me, what do I do? Here's what you do. Turn to Moose Roofing. If you want to have a great experience, and you've probably dealt with local contractors, and some are really, really good here in Omaha. Some are not so good. But deal with a local contractor when it comes to roofing that is here before the storm, during the storm, and after the storm to deliver you a peace of mind. Moose Roofing, customer-oriented. They treat you like family. That's how Pat Moose, for over 30 years, has been running his company. So if your roof has been damaged by a storm, and maybe just recently you replaced it, and now you got to replace it again, and you're like, whoa, Moose Roofing is the place to go if you want your replacement to go smooth. They handle everything, even with your insurance company, including they will fight for a full replacement. I've been in a room where Pat Moose picked up the phone. He's like, not so fast, my friends. Thank you, Lee Corso. They also add a special twist. That's the customer service and communication that they deliver so that you're satisfied with your roof. Because we know that if your roof is leaking and you got issues, you're like, oh my gosh, because your most valuable asset is your home. Trusted to the MVPs of roofing in Omaha. Moose Roofing. Schedule an inspection today before the next storm hits. Go online to mooseroofing.com. All right, unfortunate news yesterday. Not a surprise if you saw the hit that he took against Cincinnati. You were hoping for the best. Actually, turns out to be the worst. Denarian Bonner is out for the year with a torn ACL. Boy, I said it because we were all sitting next to each other in the press box. When he got hit, I was like, that is not good at all. And if you go back before that, play we haven't even talked about, Ja'Cory Barney got lucky because Ja'Cory Barney earlier in the game got bent backwards.
Yeah.
I mean, Bonner is a significant loss. Of the 5 season-ending injuries so far for Nebraska, that's the most significant. And I don't know that you just snap your fingers and say, hey, Carter Nelson, next man up. You can replace him. But, man, when you saw the hit, you know, the low hit, it wasn't dirty, but just see enough football, you saw it and you went, that's not good. And, gosh, I didn't want to hear that yesterday. That's a fun guy who got a single-digit number and is going to be really tough to replace in his type of role that he has on this team.
Do they have another guy who can be a Swiss Army knife?
Nope.
Like him?
Nope.
Like that's
not to the level of what he can do.
And I think you pointing out that it is a significant loss is very much a ball knower sentence on your behalf, because he is not a guy.
Avatar.
Yeah, put that on your resume. Ball knower, according to Matt McMaster. He's not a guy that has the flashy stats, and he's not going to get 60 receptions and over 800 yards or all the touchdowns or anything. But they love being, and you saw it rewatching the tape, like they love being multiple. Like they just love being 5 wide or having 12 personnel or going with a 2x2 or maybe even having 2 running backs out there. Like they like to just show a lot of different things to defenses, and he is kind of the perfect guy for doing that. You can kind of line him up wherever you want to line him up and really confuse the defense. And Carter Nelson, you know, while he's a great athlete and he's put on some really good weight, just that's not really, I don't know what Carter Nelson's MO is. Like, I don't know. Like,
I would hope it to be play more than 5 snaps.
Yeah. Like that's the one thing where Bonner's MO was like, man, he could be a fullback, he could be a tight end, he could be a wide receiver, he could catch passes. Like, I think losing him and losing that potential multiplicity for Dana is a pretty significant loss.
I know they want to feature Carter Nelson because it can be a little bit of a unicorn in terms of a tight end that's also got speed like a wide receiver, but his body looks more like a tight end. Harburg actually is the guy to replace him, but I think that's stretching. I was disappointed in Harburg. And from the standpoint of again, back to there were some issues that were predictable in game 1 that won't go away after game 1, but have to go away by the time Nebraska goes back on the road for Minnesota in the middle of October, is Harburg's blocking is a problem. Like Lindenmeyer is a clear tight end number 1, and his yards after contact, the way that when he catches and runs, I think that's a huge weapon.
Yeah.
But now the tight end room, like the next couple of weeks are huge for that room outside of Lindenmeyer, because I know what I have with Lindenmeyer and I know what role they want him to have in this offense. But now we got to find out what they want to do with Harburg. And then what do they want to do with Carter Nelson? I mean, did you ever think that you'd have a football game where Emmett Johnson would have as many snaps, the most snaps by a running back at Nebraska since Devine Azigbo in 2018, would have that many snaps, and Carter Nelson would have that fewest snaps?
I don't think, see, the snaps perspective, no. Touches though?
Oh, like, yeah, touches, no doubt.
No doubt.
Yeah, and it's probably more this is a Carter Nelson of why only 5 snaps?
I didn't understand it either. And it was one of those things where you went back, and I actually got an email from somebody about Carter Nelson and about him not playing a whole lot. And before we went on PFF and we were breaking down all the snaps and like the grades and whatnot, I didn't have one Carter Nelson memory. Like I didn't have a memory of, oh, hey, he's out there, or hey, he's doing this, or hey, he's doing that. I mean, obviously now you have to play him more, but back to Harburg. So he's a hell of an athlete, and he's really big and he's really fast. And God, I love the 3rd-and-1 stuff they were
Mhm.
doing with him, and the hard dozers,
Yes.
what we nicknamed it. Like, that was
Are we?
awesome. But if he's not consistently catching the ball and making plays and being a weapon in the pass game, I don't know why he's being
Yeah.
played, because there are, and this is back to the whole PFF thing and like whether or not you like it or whether or not you believe in it. Like, there were grades that PFF gave out where I go, that makes sense.
Mhm.
Like, Vincent Shavers is 90. Now, granted, he only played 29 snaps, but his 90, when I was rewatching, I go, bang. Like, that
Yep.
makes a ton of sense.
Telling
Like,
you.
he
Telling
played.
you, by my belief that by the end of the year he'll be the second best player in the program.
He is it's not even a competition of who the best linebacker is. It's not even a question of who the top guy at that position is. It is him. With Harburg, though, he apparently had the best run blocking grade. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, he's either not giving a great rep or he's getting blown up. And it's just kind of one of those things where it's his first game as tight end. It's against a Power 4 team. It's a Big 12 team. He'll grow into it. He'll learn it. Like, there's the confidence there that he can get better. But if he doesn't get better quickly, all of a sudden that tight end room kind of goes from being dynamic and being something that could be very useful to them to, okay, you have one guy and you're like, who the hell else do you have?
PFF loved, and I thought they were flawless outside of the holding call. Defensive backs had their highest coverage since PFF has been doing college football for a Nebraska defensive back
It was
group.
It was awesome watching that game from the press box, because at least in my opinion, it felt like I only had to watch the D line, and you didn't really have to worry about the secondary too much in terms of what they were executing. Now, there was some bad throws from Sorsby where they got beat. And
I mean, Nebraska, there were stretches where Nebraska treated Cincinnati like they were a great passing team,
they did.
which hurt them stopping the run, the quarterback run specifically.
There were moments where it's like they only had 6 dudes in the box or 7 dudes. Like, they just refused to load the box up and try and stop the run. And they had a lot of backline help, which is part of the reason why Donovan Jones and Deshaun Singleton, I think, both had great games when it came to having run support. I mean, Donovan Jones,
his trajectory is now that he's back at cornerback, he looks really, really comfortable.
He had 2 different instances where
smart football player,
super smart football player,
yeah,
where the Cincinnati offensive line pushed Nebraska's D line exactly where they wanted to go, and whoever was the running back for Cincinnati could have broken one, and Donovan Jones had just was standing right there in the gap. It was great.
We got questions. Sam McEwen will start the morning off with some answers, possibly. Also, a little bit later, a lot of people are talking about Arch Manning today. Steve Sarkisian owes Arch Manning an apology. Texas. Why didn't Texas win that football game?
I thought Ohio State's defense was pretty damn good. It was pretty damn good. The play calling in the first half, I told training wheels. It was training wheels.
We'll get into this. How did Texas not win that football game? It was a 60-minute game, right?
Yes.
60-minute football game. Sark should apologize to Arch and then apologize to Quinn Ewers and tell Cooper Manning, I promise I won't do that to your son. But I might be the only guy around that is going to diagnose Arch Manning and Dylan Raiola have the same issue.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll do that a little bit later. But Sam McEwen of the World Herald's coming up next.
Football is back, and Underdog is the best place to make picks and win money all season long. And you can play right now in Nebraska. It's easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and more. If you get your picks right, you can win up to 5,000 times your cash, and you can play with as little as $1. This week on Underdog, it's college football week 2. We're getting back into the swing of things. Week 1 was pretty good. Can week 2 top it? Download the app today and sign up with promo code ZONE to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code ZONE. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog, make picks, win money. Must be 19 plus and present in Nebraska. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com. For details concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
All right, welcome back in. It is Akron week. The Zips are back. This is the makeup game for when Butch Hug walked on the field and things changed. 7 years ago yesterday, that happened. We all remember. We have favorite memories. We're still looking for Bill. Whoa. Oh, you okay?
Sam?
Me?
Okay. I don't know if we caught you in a moment there. I know you're in a little bit of transition this time of the morning, but Sam McCune of the World Herald joins us. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm in a car. That's all.
Okay, that's fine. Hopefully performing a safe sell. Let's
I am.
let's dive right into, as we balance saying goodbye to Cincinnati and hello to Akron. And Matt and I are gonna jump around with you a little bit because we're gonna take advantage of your knowledge and your thoughts. Do you think if Nebraska would have run the ball, and might be a little wild to say because they had a 100-yard rusher, but if they ran the ball more consistently on Thursday night, the offense might have looked a little bit different?
Yeah, I do. I think it would have looked a little bit different. I don't know that there was ever too many moments in the game where Cincinnati was bringing those safeties up, right? So, I think Cincinnati was comfortable letting Nebraska, hit a 10-yarder, hit a 7-yarder, hit a 4-yarder, and knowing that Nebraska was going to try to throw those short passes. And so it's possible it would have looked different. I don't know that they would have scored more than 20 points, but it probably would have looked a little bit different. And I thought Nebraska had some run plays that looked good. I think the way that Cincinnati was playing, keeping everything in front, if that one drive is a touchdown instead of a field goal, you're up 24, 24-10 in the fourth quarter. And it's probably a little bit different football game. And I think the coaches would have been pretty happy with that. I think they all would have walked out of there and went, yeah, this is about what we were looking for. But, yeah, it would have looked different. I think they could have run it a little bit more.
Ohio State beat Texas and Florida State beat Alabama. And I think, outside of LSU, it was a very good victory over Clemson. But it just seemed like this week was it indicated that, hey, the SEC definitely isn't this mammoth and dominant Goliath like they have been in the past. Do you think the explanation for that is simply kind of what everyone's been saying is, oh, now that everybody can pay players, the SEC isn't as great as it used to be? Or do you think that there's something more to that there's something under that surface?
I think that a lot of the SEC success over the last 20 years in terms of narrative framing was twofold. One, it was only playing 80 conference games, and so teams had an extra win. Two, the best team in the league, which was often Alabama, won a lot of national championships. And so I think part of the way that the league is measured is by its best, not necessarily by its middle, although its middles have often been good too.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I would say coming out of the weekend is I thought the SEC had some very good wins. I thought that Auburn beating Baylor by 14, Baylor's a good team. Both those teams would beat Nebraska. The teams that I watched on Friday night would beat Nebraska by 10, including Baylor. And so Auburn's win was really good. South Carolina had a neutral site win. Tennessee had a 21-point neutral site win. Missouri won whatever they did with a backup quarterback. I don't know that I think the SEC is that bad. I think Alabama has some issues to work out, and then I don't know that they're going to be able to work those out with the current head coach. I'm not saying he's going to get let go tomorrow, but he's got a tough job in Tuscaloosa, and it's some of it was the way that Nick Saban held that thing together, which he held it together with discipline and fear and a bunch of other things, but he was old school. And actually, Kalen DeBoer is a little bit too, but he's way more mild-mannered, and I just don't know if he's a fit for that job. But I think the SEC still is a potent league. The Texas game is what it is, and we'll see what happens, later. I don't view Texas as an SEC team. They happen to be in the SEC, but their entire roster was built when they were still in the Big 12. So we'll see what Texas is in a few years, but I don't know. I think some of it is the way that we look at Alabama. Alabama is so identifiable as the SEC that as they struggle, that's like our view of the league. And we will see what happens with that team. They could be in a lot of trouble. You just really don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in Tuscaloosa that know 69.3. That would be the number of million of dollars. I think he's a good coach, but he might not be a good coach for Alabama. And you could probably say the same of like Frank Solich. Good football coach, but not the right coach for Nebraska, especially with what you're replacing. Back to Nebraska game 1, now into game 2, and with the coordinator speaking today, because it was a little bit of a roller coaster. There was some new stuff that was tried on the defensive line. They're a little bit faster, a little bit lighter. They have a lot more rotation. There was stunting, tempo, all of that stuff. What do you think the tenure or the kind of the vibe will be when we start floating questions to John Butler today about his assessment of his defensive line?
Oh, I think he'll be super honest about where that group's at. You know, now they can start to get to work, if that makes sense. Now that you have a game under your belt and you see what they did and didn't do, and you kind of have a sense of like, hey, here are the guys who are going to play. Now they can begin to go to work on how to get better. And I just didn't know if before the game they exactly knew what they had. And now there's a better appreciation for what Williams Nwaneri can do and whomever, you know, and Rule mentioned that he lined up a little wide a couple of times. I mean, those were some wide nines that he was lining up in. And so I think they've got a pretty good handle on how they want to adjust. I think it's just going to take time for that to happen. I think my larger concern is I didn't think they looked very fast. Defense didn't look fast. It just didn't look lightning. And if you're going to be light and you're going to be a little quick, you better be fast. And there was, you know, Sorsby, you know, left a couple guys in his wake, you know, and I understand that when you're going from a position of coverage, transitioning to a position of pursuit, that it takes a little bit of time to catch up to the guy that's running straight ahead. But they called it pursuit angles. I totally understand that. I get it. And that's the way that Rule framed it. And I think that's probably the right way to frame it. But I think there was also a sense of like, well, they might have been breaking down and tackling because they thought that that's where they needed to be. And they weren't quite as fast as the team that they were facing. And so there was a lot of good things in that game. And again, speed is not the paramount thing in the Big Ten. So I don't want to overshoot that. You know, I don't want to make it be this whatever. But I kind of thought they were playing a Big 12 team. Big 12 team looked a little faster than Nebraska did, especially that defense. And that's a concern. You need to have a fast defense if you're going to do what they're doing. And I just didn't think they looked real fleet. And the way that Rule put it is we played hard, but we need to play faster. And I think what he meant by that was our reaction times need to be better and maybe the playbook needs to be simpler. He didn't say that. That's my interpretation. But I just wonder if their speed profile is what it needs to be. You got to work on getting guys on the field who can run, even if they're not perfect. They got to be able to run. And then that secondary can run. I don't know if the front seven can run quite as well.
What did you make of Dillon's performance, and did maybe some of the lacking performances from younger quarterbacks make you feel better about how he played on Thursday?
Yeah, I thought Dillon played point guard, so he distributed the football and got the ball where it needed to go and made a lot of pretty good decisions. Obviously, Rule explained a couple that he'd like to have back, but I thought he did a lot of good things that were, you know, reflective of his maturity and his growth. And he obviously wanted to throw it deep a couple of times, and it just wasn't there. But I think Nebraska's offense is going to be all right. I think Hunter is obviously a deep threat, and then you've got the elusiveness of a Dane Key. I don't know that he's a 4-2 guy, but he's got some elusiveness to him. And Barney almost broke one for a score, and that would have been a big deal. He got hit on the thigh, basically. I thought they played all right. I thought Evan Johnson played the best. But I thought Johnson did a lot of good things. And I totally understand where Rule's coming from about the backup running backs. I didn't love the way they were used. Isaiah Mosey has sort of a sweep run, and his lead blocker is Makai Nelson. I think that's going to end up turning into a fake with Nelson running a wheel route for a touchdown. I think that play is a setup play. They're putting it on film, but eventually they're going to run that thing where it's going to be a wheel, and Nelson's going to blow by somebody, because I don't see a huge value in Nelson being a lead blocker on that play. So, I think they probably had some plans going in. Maybe those got scuttled by what Cincinnati was doing. Thought Raiola played pretty good. Thought the quarterback play in the Big Ten overall, and I watched almost every game, was decent. I wouldn't say it was elite, but we'll see where it goes. I didn't think Drew Aller, for example, was incredible or anything. Mendoza at Indiana wasn't incredible. Altmaier played well, but he was playing against a terrible team. So we'll know a lot more about Illinois this week, because they're going to play Duke, and Duke's going to bring 6 guys on a lot of the snaps. And we'll learn a lot about Luke Altmaier's progress this week when they go down to Durham. I think the game's at Duke.
Yes. I think the Cal freshman, who I'm sure will make a lot of money next year, was really, really good. I was impressed by Utah. Dampier looked really good.
Yeah.
And then Hoover last night looked pretty good. Let's talk about the guys that protect the quarterback, because this was a plan. First 3 series, all 3 guys get in there. And we saw him rotate. And on the other side, Teddy said, nah, I'll stay out here the whole game. We don't really talk about him. That was a solid comeback for Teddy to play every snap. But moving forward, Pritchett gave you the good, and they gave you some bad. There was an ugly in there that cost you. But he played 39 snaps. But when he was good, he was really good.
Yeah.
How do you think that position shakes out? And maybe this is just an ongoing conversation, Sam, the tackle position as a whole.
Yeah, I think you got to probably try to find a way to get Katula on the field. He had some good moments too. And I don't know exactly how that happens, whether he's playing a little bit of right tackle with Teddy, or he's gets a couple of series with Pritchett. I do think Pritchett's good. A note on the false start. Obviously he can't do that. Obviously he can't. That was a mistake. I don't think you need the tank formation on 1st and goal from the foot. I think you can just go up there and just run the normal run play. Like, I get why you're doing all that, and I get it. And Ken Lenhart, by the way, was a pretty good lead blocker. But I don't know that I don't think you need the T formation on 1st and goal from the foot. 3rd and goal from the 1, okay. So there's moving parts in those moments where I'm like, just go to the line of scrimmage, run play.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get caught up in multiple, snap counts, whatever. But that's me. That's why I'm not a coach or a former player. There's a lot of times when I'm like, yeah, I think that was just a lot of moving parts for what effectively was going to be a touchdown. They did the tush push really well. And so maybe they should just bring Harburg in those circumstances and do that, because I thought they did a real nice job with that. Pritchett, I think probably is the guy, but he has to prove that in practice. And the false start's gonna, that's gonna go a long way in frustrating the coaches. They're gonna make him earn it, because if he doesn't have that, I think he probably inches ahead. But with that penalty, I think you're gonna see Katula and maybe Corcoran get some chances. And but I do think Pritchett's on the way. They've got 2 games here to grade it out and see who's who and what's what before they play Michigan. And Michigan will be a different kind of challenge. And I my suspicion is that if he can limit the penalties, Pritchett will be the guy, but he also has to limit the penalties. And if he doesn't do that, he won't be.
We talked a lot about the running back room, especially the backups, the D line, the wide receivers, Dylan taking a step. And I think a lot of those things a lot of the thoughts that we had about those position groups kind of came to fruition, whether it be negative or positive. Was there anything in that game, Sam, that you watched that I don't want to say you were wrong on, but that surprised you, that was maybe better than you thought, or maybe even worse than you thought?
Yeah, I think I thought Nebraska would have a few more explosive plays on offense, and they didn't. I think they kept it very, very game managery, which again wins you football games in the NFL. And I don't think they won the game. So there you go. So there's that. I thought that they'd be a little bit more successful on offense than they were from an explosive play standpoint. I thought they'd run a little bit more tempo. They didn't. Now they ran no huddle tempo, but they didn't run really, really fast. And I thought at times they could have done that. I thought the coverage was even better than I thought it'd be. It was really good. Their coverage was excellent. And Donovan Jones is going to play a lot. He's a very, very good player at his age. And, by the way, if Deshaun McCullough does not knock down that pass, that play-action passing, McCullough should knock it down. That's a good football play by him. But if he doesn't, Rex Guthrie might pick that off and score because he was there to step in front. Now, again, you're not exactly sure where he's going to end up there, but it looks like he's going to step in front of that and take it back. Guthrie's going to be really good. So their secondary is where it needs to be, and they've recruited it well. I think the front seven, again, there was a couple circumstances where I'm like, yeah, that guy doesn't seem as fast as maybe he should be. And the pass rush wasn't great, and you're trying to take ends and make them defensive tackles, and I think that's going to take some time. And so there's a couple of different things that work there, but yeah, I don't know that the pass rush is going to be elite. I don't know that they're going to be reaching the 40 sack mark this year or anything like that. I think they're going to be good, I think, but perhaps not great. And newsflash, they're going to face actually more mobile quarterbacks than has been advertised. So Bryce Underwood can run, and Aiden Childs can run. And the Minnesota guy, I don't think.
No, but the guy at Maryland, who's a freshman,
can run.
Looks like he can run.
And Nico's going to have to run. If that coach wants to keep his job, and I don't know if he does, he seems pretty miserable. But if he wants to, they're going to have to run him like 20 times a game because they don't have anything. So, and he ran 13, but they need to run him all the time. So Nico's going to run. And I don't know. Well, USC is going to run their quarterback. So I know that Nebraska won't see this again. And quite frankly, I think once it's been put on tape, you're going to see other teams do it. So Akron is not a good throwing team, but they're probably going to try a couple quarterback draws and see if they can catch Nebraska off guard and get a couple first downs that way.
Saw that last year against Northern Iowa. Sam, appreciate it. We'll see you later. Good seeing you on Thursday night at Arrowhead.
All right, take care. We'll see you on Saturday.
Yes, that's Sam McEwen. Any concern second half? Nebraska, 15 carries, 34 yards.
So we can talk about this later, and I think we might. But the comment from Rule saying Dana went with the hot hand in regard to Emmett Johnson getting a lot of the carries compared to the backups, I was like, are you talking about the first half? Because first half, you rewatch the tape. There's a lot of really good runs, a lot of really good blocking. The second half, not nearly as effective in that regard.
All right, 2 weeks to Michigan, but Sam is right. Michigan, and first game out of the box, I didn't go, ooh.
Yeah.
Bryce Underwood, kind of something there.
Well,
but it ratchets it up, of course, on Saturday night in Norman.
We'll see. I think if you were to flip Arch Manning and Bryce Underwood in terms of who they played, we'd probably feel the same way about those two as we do now.
Yeah, I think when you're playing a defense that has 7 NFL guys and a Ed Reed lookalike playing safety, Matt Patricia had a pretty good weekend. We'll get into all of that around the world in college football. Week 1 is done. On to Akron, 6:30 Saturday night. Be there.
You should do the promo. You'd be good at that.
By the way, ESPN ran highlights of WWE, in Europe?
Yeah, in Paris. Gosh, at Paris. Hell of a card.
Remember when Sports Center was pure?
What do you mean?
Hour number 3 coming up. All right, it's Gary and Matt with Jimmy on a Tuesday morning. We're all back. The 2nd of September. Football is back. The Cowboys and the Eagles coming up on Thursday night. One of the rare times that Dak is going to play against Philadelphia.
Yeah, I'll be in bed by 8:30.
Oh, yeah, that's a great. Sorry,
Hi.
that's a great point by you. And unless you've been really following like the rivalry, you would know that for whatever reason, Cooper Rush plays
Mhm.
like 2 games a year for the last 4 years, and it just always seemed like he was playing against the Eagles. I don't know what it is, but Dak always had an ankle problem or a shoulder problem, or just all of his injuries just always landed on very like consequential, not just like
Yeah.
a random Eagles game, like actually very important for the standings Eagles games. It was a great
Maybe
observation.
4 starts in the last 3 years against the Eagles.
That's crazy.
Maybe.
Very Steve Berline like.
It's crazy. I'm all over CD Lamb for fantasy football this year.
Cool.
I'm all in on him. I think this Cowboys offense is going to be very good. I think they're going to have a very good offense, and I think that they're going to be able to run the ball a little bit better than maybe people are anticipating, and that'll just open things up for their great weapons. Jake Ferguson's still a dude at a tight end.
8, 9.
Now
Jimmy?
engaged to
Yeah, Cavender twin, right?
Yeah,
The
one that wasn't with Carson Beck.
I get what's Haley and Hannah, something like that.
Yeah, they also are the two that do the TV commercials for the car company
Why
here
do you
in
know
Omaha.
so much about the Cavender twins?
They're Miami. I'm a Miami guy.
That is a good point. They are Miami. Were they at Fresno State too before that? Look at us. We know so much about the.
And they were at Miami, and then one quit, and then one went to TCU, and then one they came back.
Your defense is going to be awful.
My
Defense.
team's going to be awful.
Well,
I'm going to
I
enjoy
don't
other
think
things this year.
Stopping the run on Thursday night might be a little bit difficult.
7-10. 7-10.
Oh, see, that's about right.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I've
I'm
never.
auditioning new teams.
I've never. No, come on.
Shout out Scott Hansen. That'll be my Sunday buddy.
I don't think in my lifetime there's ever really been like a awful, terrible. God, I can't watch them Dallas Cowboys team.
1989.
Ooh, there's been a lot after Dak goes down.
Well,
Yeah, where I've been like, well, it took the little buzz off Thanksgiving between Kansas City and Dallas. No Micah.
good point. Barring injury, I've never. Let me rephrase
Chiefs
that.
home
I don't
game.
think I've in my lifetime I've ever entered the season with lower expectations for the Dallas Cowboys. Like over the last 20 years, the Dallas Cowboys have legitimately been a pretty good, consistent
I'm-
pillar of
I'm
like
used to
10
it.
to 11 wins.
Just
Great analysis.
So as the week goes on, we'll talk more about the NFL because there is a game in Brazil that involves the Kansas City Chiefs and the Los Angeles Chargers. Can't believe they're playing a division game in Brazil. But there may not be a head football coach in the NFL that needs to win week 1 more than Zach Taylor. In the month of September,
not wrong.
well, let me give this is even more. So when Joe Burrow has been healthy, week 1 and week 2, straight up, the Bengals are 1-9 under Zach Taylor. You know how they've always treated the first couple of weeks like Belichick did as the preseason? You notice that the Bengal starters played more during the preseason. That has a lot to do. I think Zach Taylor is 7-14-1 in the first month.
He is in a weird spot as a head coach right now.
They play Cleveland, by the way, is 6.5-point favorite.
Who's the interim?
Don't you feel like he's a little bit like Vrabel when
In what way?
Vrabel was at Tennessee in those last couple of years, where Vrabel's a great coach, and I don't think anybody can argue against that.
No, I do not.
Mike Vrabel is very good, and I don't think you can argue that.
No, I do not.
You don't think Mike Vrabel's a good coach?
I wouldn't argue with
I
him.
think Mike Vrabel's a good coach. I think that is, you got to look at the team. The Cincinnati has a dude throwing the ball and catching the ball. Their roster is a lot better.
Oh, sure,
Yeah.
sure. But when
They have
I'm
Super
saying,
Bowl
I'm saying
expectations.
from this point of Vrabel compared to Taylor, where they're both very good coaches and they both accomplished things, but there is that kind of there's that infraction point of like, hey, you got to win a playoff game, or hey, you got to go to a Super Bowl, or hey, you have to accomplish more. Being just a good team, being just more than average, being just a good coach isn't good anymore because You've proven that. Now you have to prove more, right? I think
Yeah, I don't know
that's-
that even going to a Super Bowl, and I like him. Okay. I just there's too many times where in game, I don't think Zach Taylor has been that good. And granted, their defense has been a sieve,
God.
but they've spent a lot of money. Like this is, I think if you're a head coach, you're like, thank you. I got all these weapons. Now it can either be good or bad. It's just they've gotten off to slow starts, and then all of a sudden they try and rally. They haven't made the playoffs since 22.
It's a long time
That's
ago.
Joe Burrow at quarterback. Now, granted, he's been injured, but Joe Burrow should not be out of the playoffs for a couple of years in a row.
I just think
In a division where it's not like Cleveland is beating down the door. It's Pittsburgh's a 500 team. It's basically you and Baltimore.
I definitely do think we give head coaches some slack. So if you're an offensive head coach and your defense is bad, right?
Tell that to Mayo in New England.
Well, we kind of were like, all right, you're like the defense should be good if you're a defensive coach. If you're an offensive coach, the offense should be good, the defense should be lesser. That's kind of how things work. You should never have, though, a defense as bad as what Cincinnati's defense was. I don't care that you're the offensive head coach. I don't care that that's not your side of the ball. It's an indictment on you that one side can be that bad at football. And I think that's a massive argument against it.
I think as I look at Zach Taylor, and I think he's a really good offensive mind, there's two guys that come to mind in this discussion, and there's another one, but he's preparing for the Belichick game in 19 days. So Matt Patricia, just because Matt Patricia was a very bad head coach doesn't mean he was going to be a bad defensive coordinator, because he's been a good defensive coordinator. Now, it's still crazy that he was calling plays for Belichick in New England.
Crazy.
Okay? But Matt Patricia, just because you failed as a head coach doesn't mean that you can't be a good coordinator. Nebraska is going to see the same thing this weekend. So Joe Moorhead, who OC at Penn State, OC at Oregon, really good in those roles.
Mm-hmm.
Just because he's a bad head football coach, he's 8-29, Mississippi State and Akron, doesn't mean would be a bad coordinator.
Sure.
And that might be more in his wheelhouse. You know, same thing with Scott Frost. Scott Frost may not be a great head coach, but really good coordinator. And I look at Patricia, and granted, he walked in, they got 7 NFL dudes.
Mm-hmm.
Their defensive line was better this early than I thought they would be. And he's got college football's version of Ed Reed. Caleb Downs is unbelievable. But it's just, not everybody is built to be a head coach.
Yeah.
I mean,
but
it's just like,
do you feel that way about Zach Taylor? Are you getting there?
I think Zach Taylor is built to be a head coach, but you can't go to the Super Bowl and then kind of not fall off the map, but not have a firm place on the map.
Well, let's be honest here. They kind of have fallen off the map. They haven't made the playoffs in 2 seasons, and they've spent a ton of money on the best wide receiver in the NFL and one of the 2 best quarterbacks in the NFL. And now they're paying this defensive end a ton of money to try and shore up the defense.
And they got my nose tackle.
Yeah. Like they're, I mean, he's been given tools. He's been given opportunities. He's been given the ingredients to make a cake, and you can't go 3 straight years and not make the playoffs. That's not an option.
If they don't make the playoffs this year, he's
done.
unemployed. Back to college football. Question you asked Sam about quarterback play this weekend. It was not all Arch Manning, because Arch Manning was bad. All the quarterbacks were bad. Jackson Arnold was, I thought, really, really good. But are we seeing, and we haven't even mentioned Sellers, who runs like Adrian Peterson, but is built like Josh Allen.
Incredible.
Is the dual threat quarterback coming back to college football instead of the straight pro-style drop-back quarterback? Iowa fans, you're not allowed to chime in because your quarterback wasn't very good.
I think
44 passing yards.
I don't want to say coming back as in, I don't think everybody's going to be looking like, oh my God, we have to get our Lenore Sellers.
Or Castellanos.
Yeah. Or like they're not saying, oh my God, we have to get a quarterback that can run the read option or that can pull down the zone. But I think what I've noticed is there are more coaches who are not We used to get the whole, you have to throw the ball, you have to throw the ball, you have to learn how to throw the ball. And I think coaches would force that. They would try and get a non-throwing quarterback to throw the ball more.
Mm-hmm.
I think now you're seeing teams lean into, oh, you can run, we'll lean on that more. We'll do it more old-fashioned. We do it kind of what teams used to do in the 90s and the 80s and the 2000s. So I don't think anybody's being like, hey, we got to get a running quarterback. But I think there definitely is the willingness is higher. And now that if Florida State goes on
quarterbacks that can do both.
Yes.
Like Sorsby can run. I don't think Sorsby can pass.
No. But
why was Nebraska treating him like he was going to win the Johnny Unitas Award?
But why? I feel like we've been on this trend though, even in the NFL for a hot minute of quarterbacks needing to be mobile. Like you look at the prototypical, hey, this is your top quarterback prospect in 2010, and you compare him to now, you have guys like Quinn Ewers who are falling to the 7th round because they don't have that mobility. Like that is you. I subscribe to Todd McShay. I read Todd McShay's draft reports every single week. One of the top things he's looking for in quarterbacks is, can you be off schedule? Can you move around? Can you have mobility? Like, I think that's what is going to separate Dylan Raiola from being one of the best quarterbacks in college football. I think if Dylan Raiola ends up being a top 10 guy, a top 5 guy, it's because he can escape to the outside. He can move in the pocket. He can use his different arm angles and make plays off schedule. So I think now though, you're right. I mean, running quarterbacks this week look good.
I mean, not everybody, you're not going to find sellers. Okay. No. And the thing about him, and I've been high on him for a while, and he's one of the guys that every Saturday I want to watch. And, maybe he's more Big Ben than anything, being a Roethlisberger, is he's strong. Like that's, like the way they utilize him, he's built like Josh Allen, runs like Adrian Peterson. He's 240 pounds. Like he would be perfect for the tush push, not a little scrawny Arch Manning. Like another thing I saw this weekend, and again, it's the first game of the year, and there's probably some coordinators that would love to have a preseason game, and this, I'm going to bring Notre Dame into this. You have an identity. Why do you get away from your identity? It's game number 1. That's at least something you know. Like, I don't think Notre Dame thought C.J. Carr would give you the vibe that he gave after game 1.
Sure.
I think nice quarterback. But they have one of the top running backs in the country in the backfield, and he had 4 touches at halftime. He hardly ran the ball. They threw screen passes. They abandoned the run. I looked around college football and teams that were on the losing end, they just completely got away from their identity. And yes, defenses, they also have clipboards and, wax boards and all that kind of stuff. But like Alabama's opening drive was their identity. They did not use those sequence of plays again. It seemed, and this is from Thursday night to last night, the teams that were polished looked really, really good. But there was a lot of like disjointed football of it's week 1. We have these new rosters. How is this all going to fit? And let's just go play. And we hope we have more Jimmies and Joes to beat you.
Also, too, I think this is going to become more apparent of just teams looking disorganized because of the transfer portal.
Yeah.
Because now you just have every year more and more guys who are coming in and playing their first game for you.
Play a preseason game.
Now, I'll ask you this. Do you I heard across multiple broadcasts on multiple different networks, the defense is always ahead of the offense on week 1. Do you think it was a little bit more apparent than usual that that's always been a thing, that it seems like the defense is a step ahead? I thought it was a little bit more than usual this week. There were a lot of unders that hit, and especially in those bigger games. I mean, I like that Clemson and LSU was a competitive game, and I like that Ohio State and Texas were a competitive game. From an entertainment standpoint, at times it was an incredibly tough watch.
I think I would be so comfortable as a team because this changes your attitude and your outlook. If you went into a weekend where your offensive line and defensive line week 1 in college football was set and you felt comfortable. Look at the teams that have really good defensive lines this weekend. They dominated, absolutely dominated. So I do subscribe to that. The defense has a little bit more advantage on what they can throw at you
Sure.
and how they can adjust a little bit quicker in week number 1. But the part of it is, and maybe this turns out to be the year of the defense. Maybe LSU is like, hey, this is how it's going to be.
Yeah.
And what they were able to do against Klubnik with their pass rush is it's a journey, not a destination. So you kind of look at that. That's how we look at the first weekend of college
Sure.
football, because, we've said things we like this weekend for Nebraska, things that have concern, and all of a sudden we're haters. Okay. It's a journey, not a destination. I mean, that's why I keep going back to the further you can get away from the Cincinnati game being referenced, the better.
Well, it means if we are still referencing the Cincinnati game in 6 weeks, it's because no progress was made.
Yeah, and you made a really good point earlier. Yeah, that's what. Just if we get to the end of this month and Cincinnati's really not brought up, some of those issues that were predictable that we can't ignore, now we can kind of ignore them because they're fixable.
Sure.
And they got
Yes.
better over the course of 3 games. Yeah, that's again, this is what we all do. We love the sport so much. We wait so long to play one game, and then we have over and under reactions.
Can I overreact though?
Sure.
Utah's offensive line, holy Lord.
Mhm.
Holy,
Hey,
Joe Moore award.
healthy quarterback. They're scary.
They are. And
Utah
you
TCU going to be fun.
you picked them on Friday.
Yeah.
You were all over that one too. They bullied UCLA. And it was apparent from the first quarter. It was like, that's when you know we're in trouble. In the very beginning of the game where everybody's got juice and everybody's got adrenaline, you look so much better. They look so much better from the get-go.
That's okay. Nobody saw it. There were only 35,000 people at the Rose Bowl. They had and then also UCLA did not tackle very well. And I think their success rate on defense was 29%,
Jeez.
which is the lowest in college football this weekend.
That's disgusting.
That's okay. Nobody was there to see it.
29%.
So I know you as a Northwestern fan.
I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about
UCLA makes you feel better. Jeff on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. How will you make us feel? Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Yeah,
Hey.
I was listening to you guys talk about running quarterbacks in college. I think in college, if you want to be successful, you gotta have one that can, at least scoot a little bit. I think it puts so much pressure on opposing defensive coordinators. I mean, you can expose slower linebackers, inexperienced quarterbacks. I mean, I don't know. I would much rather have a good 3-star running quarterback than I think maybe a 5-star pocket passer. I just think and it's just a lot more exciting to watch.
Joe, I got a question for you. Would you rather have a quarterback that is great at running but can throw a little bit, or would you rather have a quarterback that is great at throwing but they can still run a little bit? They're not Peyton Manning. They can be a little bit mobile. What would you rather have?
Yeah, I think in college, I think I'd just still go with the running quarterback. I think
Okay. Wow.
your talent levels low, scattered across the field. I think you can just find a lot of ways to expose people. Plus, you don't need super great wide receivers. I don't know. I just think it puts so much pressure on them. It's hard to get away from. And I don't think you've seen a lot of I would be interested to see how often the consensus number 1 NFL ready quarterback actually played in the national championship game. I don't think it's very high.
I don't know.
That's a good question. Jeff, thanks
Yeah.
for the phone call.
Thinking back, Watson and Lawrence. I mean, those were top dudes, and they were pretty consistently there. I'm never. This is how my perfect quarterback prospect is: a great passer who can get outside of the pocket and who can scramble for a first down. But they're not running 80 yards down the field. They're not hitting their head on the goalpost. They're not necessarily a running quarterback. I think that's where we are in the game now. It's still a passing game. It's still passing leagues. You have to be able to throw the football. But if you don't have any lick of mobility, done are the days of Ryan Leaf being a top quarterback prospect, that type of prospect. It's
More
just
of
not there.
More of the Cam Ward.
Yeah, well,
But then Cam Ward goes this year as the first quarterback. Probably after week 1, you would, Nussmeier
yes.
would probably be your number 1 quarterback.
Yes. But I will say this though about the Cam Ward discussion. Like after Anthony Richardson and what's kind of happened with Joe Milton in Dallas, we have to be a little like I think teams are going to be a little bit more careful with the mega athlete, but we have to teach them how to play quarterback. I think like Anthony Richardson's archetype and how that kind of went down in Indianapolis may not bode well for those types of prospects. But Cam Ward is similar in that regard.
So the quarterback that's an athlete instead of an athlete that is a quarterback.
Yes. I think that if Cam Ward doesn't play well and he ends up being a bust, which I don't think is going to happen, I think he's going to be pretty damn good.
Could be predicated by the guys around him, though.
If he ends up being a bust, like that's not gonna do well for those types of prospects where they're just like mega athletes, but you have to teach them.
I'm a big fan of Cam Ward this weekend. Go Titans, win that football game.
What do you got? You got a little scratch on them? Or?
No, they're playing the Broncos.
Oh, okay.
Who have lost 3 straight week ones.
Are you? I was going to say.
But I think the number 1 overall pick that is a quarterback is all time in week 1. Is it 14-1?
Really?
Yeah.
That's a great stat. What's the survivor pool pick?
Have not gotten there yet.
Okay. You're excited about it though.
Yes. I almost get excited, more excited about that than fantasy football.
Are you a survivor pool shark? I take it that you have probably won. You just screamed the type of guy that has won a survivor pool or 2 in his day.
Yes,
okay.
But I also have been the guy that's been out week 1. And that's why I little bit hold the Bengals in a different light because the Bengals screwed me last year against the Patriots in week 1. I was done. There went my $100 like that.
I've been in a survivor pool for 4 years. 2 of those years I got out week 1. 2 of those years I came in second.
My fantasy football punishment though this year may drive me not to finish last.
Mine too. Mine's brutal.
I'll share what ours is when we come back. And I will share, Arch Manning and Dylan Raiola are on the phone with each other this morning going, yeah.
What, they're talking about the checkdowns that they love?
Yeah, I hear you. I'm 1-0. You're 0-1. Gary and Matt with Jimmy on 1620 The Zone. All right, welcome back in, Gary and Matt with Jimmy. Brian Christopherson's coming up at the top of the hour. Andy Kendi as well. They've been busy. They were live at Arrowhead on Thursday, then had a little special. We're not in a metered market here, so you can't get the ratings for like events. I know they do it for news. It's a long story. It's inside baseball. I would love to see what Nebraska, Kentucky, the number they drew on KTV on Sunday morning into the afternoon as Nebraska rallied a reverse sweep to go to 4-0, 3 wins over top 10 teams, and they're a unanimous number 1. Because I got to imagine there was a large chunk of the viewing audience on a Sunday were watching KTV.
My brother watched his first ever Nebraska volleyball game for the first time.
Did he go, hey, I really like what Kentucky's doing here because they've got great players on the pins, and they won't go away. And then Nebraska. I like Nebraska. They look like a good team.
His breakdown was, I've never seen a woman move like Andy Jackson moves. He's like, he was enamored by 15 and just he was stunned by how athletic. And like every time she would slide, he was like, dude, that was incredible. That was absolutely amazing. He loved it. He had a great time.
Nebraska volleyball, it's, they got some passing and some serving things to take care of that are very fixable. Everything is fixable. And Danny Busboom Kelly changed the course of that match by switching up some lineups and rotational changes and chances that she took when they were down 2-0. But Nebraska volleyball is going to screw my viewing experience all year.
Why? Because you're now going to hold all these teams to this standard, and if they don't play to quite an impossible standard, you're going to think they're terrible.
Why watching Nebraska volleyball? And I actually in the sports on a heater, and it was cool that we got double dose of Creighton this weekend on BTN, and congratulations to Brian Rosen on his first victory. Really neat. They got the volleyball from the win over Kansas, which Kansas almost reverse sweep them up in Madison on Sunday. So they got the ball, and so that'll be something that he will have, and that's Creighton's first victory over. They beat a ranked team. They were number 12, now they're 13, and KU was 14 at the time. But then I watched TCU this weekend, Penn State, which by the way lost twice. But you watch Nebraska play, and granted, 3 of their first 4 matches have been against fellow top 10 teams. It looks so much different when you watch somebody else play. It looks slower. The sound of the ball being hit.
They're not jumping as
on
high.
A set.
Yeah.
It like goes in slow motion compared to watching Nebraska play.
So at the end of the first set, and I'm not, I watch every Nebraska volleyball game, but I'm
You're
not
a volleyball knower.
But no, I'm not. I am not a ball knower. Okay. And I'm watching the games, and I'm staying up to date, and I'm learning more about it. Shout out Emily Eamon, because she does a great job when she's on broadcast teaching you about volleyball. But even I could tell that they were sleepwalking at that end of the first set in a way. And even in the second set, it just didn't seem like they had a ton of energy until they were like, all right, hey, we got to lock in and we have to actually win this game now. Isn't it incredible though, when they're sleepwalking and they're still highly competitive against the 7th best team in the nation? Like they were playing by far what was their worst sets of volleyball, like bar none, compared to what they did against Stanford and what they did against Pitt. And yet they still were losing competitive sets against a Kentucky team that will be pretty damn good. I mean, they have some talented volleyball players.
They have
on
some
that
X
team.
factors on the pins.
Yeah. So the number 7, I don't know her name. Hudson, I think was her last name, maybe. She was great. And then 17, who had that wicked serve, would like throw it all the way up to the ceiling. And Nebraska had a really, really tough time on the serve receive when she was behind the line. But they weren't playing that well for most of that match. And they still were losing sets by 2, and they still were being incredibly competitive. And then they took that momentum in the third and they ran with it.
One thing they don't have, Harper Murray. Harper Murray's the best
She's
player
incredible.
in college volleyball. And Olivia Babcock at Pittsburgh is unbelievable. But they are going to have to find somebody opposite Harper. But when you need one, she is there, and she is becoming the best in NCAA volleyball. All right. let's talk Dylan.
Yeah.
So, at one point he had 9 straight completions. He was 33 of 42. Before I compare him to Arch Manning, last 8 games, that's what I was doing. You were looking at me weird. I was doing,
you're good.
I was doing some math on my calculator.
I was being Mick Volleyball.
So the last 8 games, this is going back to Indiana.
Oh, okay. Okay.
How many times do you think Dylan's yards per attempt
Oh, geez.
were higher than 6.5? Last 8 games.
I would say the UCLA game and the Pinstripe Bowl.
Pinstripe Bowl, yes. Wisconsin is the other.
Damn, that's stupid. I should have gotten the Wisconsin. So 2. That was my answer.
And then
Right.
UCLA.
Oh, UCLA too.
Mhm.
All right. So I got 2 out of the.
I guess it was UCLA.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 3. So 3 out of
Yeah.
the 8 over 6. Over 6.5.
Mm-hmm.
That's a low number.
Okay.
That's
So-
a very low number.
so-
6.5.
Put that on the board for a moment. Go back to something
Wow.
because I the word that Dana used during camp
Uh-huh.
was just make the simple. Okay. Make
Yeah.
the simple play. What did they do one time on Thursday night, 20 yards downfield, and that was the pass to Hunter that went for 24. Is that right?
Yes.
So Sam brought something up, and I'm agreeing with him, that they want Dylan to play point guard. But Dylan grew up in a world
Yeah.
where he could put the ball on the floor and get to the bucket,
Yep.
or he could hit a 3.
Never played like that before.
But they want him to play point guard. Are we vibing with that?
Yes.
Okay. So and I think he has. I don't know why I just did a southern accent there. I think I like the wide receivers. Like Hunter and Key, for what they brought to the table in that game against that particular opponent, I think they're as advertised, and I think they will grow. Okay. I also love the fact that I think Key and Mills are 50-50 guys that can go up and get that ball. Mr. Hunter had 2 50-50 balls that he went up and got. So I'm going to throw him on that list.
I love that.
So I'm watching Arch Manning, and Sarko's an apology. Last year, Texas was 101st in the country in their red zone efficiency. Doesn't look like they've changed. They convert twice.
Mhm.
Doesn't Texas win the game?
Yes.
It's not like Ohio State blew out Texas.
No.
Texas had a chance.
Very much so.
Now, impressive performance by Ohio State. Ohio State's on a heater. They are rolling right now. Last 5 wins against top 10 teams. Okay, so they're still the man. And they rightfully so should be number 1. But they kind of, when they got up 2 touchdowns, they went,
Oh, yeah.
man. But Texas had opportunities in that game. But Sark in the red zone is the same as he was last year. They had better yards per play. They were bad last year. Quinn Ewers regressed.
Mhm.
They're bad in the red zone. It's one game. And they'll turn it around. Arch will look great this weekend. But here's where I'm making the Dylan and Arch Manning comparison. I think I know Dylan better than Arch.
Okay.
They don't strike me as 2 guys that are dinkers and dunkers. What
No.
they strike me as 2 quarterbacks that are downfield throwers that are okay taking risks. And I thought about a lot about Dylan's performance. And you take 33 of 42, you take what they give you. They won the football game. Nebraska needs to find a way to score more points.
Mhm.
But if you're going to treat your quarterback like a point guard, okay. But I don't think in this offense, Dylan wants to have the ball in his hands that much. He wants to be the guy that gets it off the curl, coming off a pin down,
Sure.
and be able to catch and shoot. But Arch Manning to me is not a dinker and dunker. He's a guy that is a downfield thrower that is okay taking a risk. Dylan, I think, is the same way. And we go, why are those guys playing it so safe? I don't think Dylan wants to be safe, but I think Dana thinks that Dylan is best in this role. It's really kind of over the next couple of weeks, it'll be interesting to see, because I'd like to see them let Dylan cook for a little bit and see what that looks like.
Well,
No, I just want to see it.
against
What are you afraid? Are you afraid?
against these 2 teams, against Akron and Houston Christian?
Mhm.
Okay, yes,
So
I
you-
agree.
So wait a minute. So you're already going to Michigan? Nah.
No, I'm not
Okay,
letting him cook.
okay.
I am not telling Dylan Raiola, with all due respect, hey kid, go and play backyard football against Michigan. You need a curated, very
All right.
methodical plan for him. Here's
Are you paying $3 million for a point guard or a spot of shooting?
I'm paying $3 million for a guy who's going to lead me to 9 wins.
Okay.
That's what I'm paying for. If Nebraska needs to win the game by throwing the ball deep and taking advantage of a cover 2 base defense or a quarters defense, or hey, we're going to expose the seams this week. If that's what they need to do, I pay $3 million for Dylan Raiola to do that.
Okay.
If they need a dinker and dunker like they did against Cincinnati, I'm paying Dylan Raiola $3 million to do that. I'm not paying Dylan Raiola for his stats. I'm paying Dylan Raiola for his wins. Is kind of how I see it. Now, to your point, there will be a time, there will be a game this year where everything is going haywire. The wide receivers aren't playing well. The running backs aren't playing well. The O-line's having a tough day. And in that moment, the guy that is going to win you the game, that is going to force you and get you over the finish line when everybody else is playing bad, will be your quarterback. That's why you pay your quarterback that amount of money.
Okay. So on this part of this discussion, and I've been to Dinkers many times. I don't know if they have a Dinker and a Dunker on the menu. And now I'm searching to see if there is a Dinker and Dunker bar anywhere in America.
That'd be a great fantasy football
No,
team.
that'd be a great sports bar.
Dinker and Dunkers?
Dinker and Dunkers.
I'd be a pretty
okay. So, but let me add another
or Charlie
thing here.
Checkdowns?
No, because
Charlie Checkdowns would be a great sport bar name.
By 1:45 Thursday night into Friday morning, the check down had become a 4-letter word around here. My phone was blowing up of check down this, check. Okay. But so let me add another conversation. And quarterback wins are not a stat, but Nebraska's 1-0, and Dylan did more to help you than hurt you.
Oh, 1,000,000%.
Okay, but now we're into 14 games.
Yes.
Do we think that Dylan, because I'm pretty sure that he wants to be a risk taker. He wants to throw the ball downfield. Man, I got a big boy arm. Okay, I don't want to be Dinker and Dunker. Okay, even though I've seen Brock Purdy make a lot of money doing that.
Are you?
But
go ahead.
Do you think? Now I got Illinois in my head. I got Lindenmeyer in the end zone in my head. That Dylan is comfortable being safe. He's afraid to fail.
Okay. He can do it.
Okay.
But I think you are getting a vibe that he goes back in the pocket and he sees the 5-yard curl route and he goes, ugh, and he throws it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what the vibe that you're picking up.
High percentage throw, more likely going to be completed.
Yeah. And
there's a guy that may have a defender on his hip that's 20 yards down the field.
Want to rocket it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Gary, that play, the on the hip, and you want to rocket it down and you want to score the big touchdown. You know what that wins you? That wins you the Heisman. Okay. It wins you the awards. It wins you the notoriety. It wins you a great draft grade. Do you know what wins you games? We all know this is the 5-yard curl, is the, hey, it's 1st and 10. Let's throw it down and let's get to 2nd and 3 and let's open up the playbook. And then you can actually run a play where you're thinking, all right, hey, we're going to go verts here. We're going to, have a smash action. We're going to do something like I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. I'm so happy though that Dylan is doing that. Despite him not wanting to do that, despite him not wanting to throw the check down and not wanting to throw the short route, I am so happy that Dana has acted like a father in a way. And Dylan is now a kid who's a little bit upset where he's like, I know I have to drink my milk. I know it's good for my bones. I see where you're going.
Dana is the adult in the room with Rule and Raiola.
Yes. And Dylan's like, I know I have to eat my vegetables. I know I have to drink my milk. I know it's going to make me better, but I don't want to do it.
Didn't your parents at some point trust you and say, yeah, you can take the car out? Now they might have said, hey, take the car out when there's no traffic on the road, i.e. Akron, Houston Christian. But there was a point where they said, here's the keys. Just remember, you have a curfew.
But that was with
My whole thing
But-
here,
but here-
I want to. Let's see the boy cook. All right.
I could only ever take the car out if I was going with my buddy Jason. If I was going out with my buddy Dave, my parents wouldn't let me take the car out. Okay. Because they knew that Dave and I were going to do some hooligan BS. And they knew that me and Jason weren't going to do that. Dave was Cincinnati. Okay. Dylan couldn't take the car out with Dave. Dylan wasn't allowed to do that stuff and let
Yeah.
it rip because it plays right into Cincinnati's hands. And I think it's
Now, Cincinnati, I don't think there will be many teams left on the schedule that will play the Cincinnati blueprint.
sure.
Some might try, but not to the extent that they're successful playing that way because they're comfortable and that's basically
Yes.
their base defense.
But with Dylan, it's like my number one problem with him last year was that he didn't get the ball out quick enough. He got it out. He got it out quickly.
Yeah.
And he took what was given to him and he took what was in front of him. And you can say, well, they didn't throw it deep and they didn't have explosive plays, but the main issue wasn't the explosive plays. The main issues last year was not taking sacks and overlooking guys who were clearly right open in front of you. It seems like they've solved that, which I think was a much bigger problem.
All right, we're beyond to game 15 as the starting quarterback. Bernie, Texas in, not Texas. They also need to unplug Rule's headset on offense and let Dana cook too.
Well, I think that's kind of been communicated that that's what they're doing. Quick question to you though.
Why is Rule so bad with running backs? Like rotation,
I have no clue.
like recruiting,
Putting them back, knowing when to put them out there too in certain
it's-
situations.
the running back position is definitely not his strength.
Okay, I want to go back some real quick.
Well, hold that. We got to take a break.
Oh, okay.
Can you hold it long enough?
I can hold it, but it's about Dylan.
Yeah, we'll hold it.
I can
We'll
hold it.
continue this discussion.
hold it.
Dylan ain't going away.
It's a great question for you because I'm actually very curious what your answer is going to be.
Be a lot better than somebody gave him a grade of C plus.
No,
He's in the B range for Thursday night.
I think he's a B.
They didn't turn the ball over. By the
He's
way,
B.
Matt Rule 7-1 when Nebraska wins the turnover margin. Seems kind of low.
7-1.
Only 8 games.
Yeah, that's like almost all of his wins.
See,
he's only won
if you were
13 games.
if you were a ball knower, you would say, if you don't turn the ball over, Nebraska's got a chance to win a
Do
game.
you need to be a ball knower to know that? Oh, if you have the ball more than the other team, you're more likely to score more points. Einstein.
What if you held the ball for 39 plus minutes and you did not sack the quarterback?
Isn't that called the MAC?
It's called Nebraska's formula to win Thursday night.
I'll do whatever they got to do. Whatever they got to do, just do it. I don't care.
All right, BC and AK coming up in the last hour on a Tuesday edition of Gary and Matt with Jimmy on 1620 The Zone. All right, Nebraska's about a 5-touchdown favorite Saturday night against Akron. Should be a great atmosphere. The weather's going to be fantastic. Home opener for 1-0 Nebraska and 0-1 Akron. And their quarterback, Ben Finley, who is 16 of 38, do the yards per attempt on that one. 139 yards.
Ben Finley was fourth in Heisman voting in my EA Madden 25 dynasty. He was a really good quarterback to use in that game. He's got some wheels. You can do some of the read option stuff with him in the game.
I said earlier, it feels like because Nebraska is like, Rule isn't like, hey, let's step on the throat, let's pull away. It's like, get the lead and then grind it. Feels like a 42-7 game. I will make a proclamation here on Tuesday. Nebraska's quarterback will be much better than Akron's quarterback.
Hot take. I have a question.
Probably very mild and freezing
take. A cold take.
Yeah.
Yes. I hope so.
ball knower.
Super Bowl knower. Here's my question to you, because we were teasing it even after we off air. You say let Dylan cook.
I'd like to see him for a little bit.
Okay, real quick.
Just let's dingle and dangle. Let's be like we're back in Arizona or Georgia.
Real quick. And this isn't an Akron-based question. This is a general over the entirety of the season question. Have you seen enough from Dylan to make you think that he can cook?
Good question.
Because we said this about Russell Wilson.
So I did at the beginning of his career at Nebraska.
We're okay at the beginning. We're now.
You asked the question. I'm giving you the response.
So at the beginning, you thought.
Yeah.
What about right now?
Right now, he might be morphing into a more mature quarterback.
So
where
yeah,
Dylan, this is what they're going to allow you to do, and he goes, "Gosh, dang it! But they're not going to let me throw deep, but they're going to let me throw underneath and pick them apart." Okay, coach.
But what does that say about Dylan, and what does that say about the coaching staff if he can only ever accomplish what the defense is giving him? Isn't that why
it may say that he has an OC that is smart,
or
an
OC that doesn't trust him?
Well, I wouldn't go that far yet. I mean, at the end of the day, whether it's Satterfield or Holgorsen with Dylan as your quarterback, Nebraska has to find a way to score points.
Yes.
All right. Nebraska needs to put up big crooked numbers. They now have at least a collection of personnel where they could do that.
Yeah.
But it's not like they're putting a big number week after week. I mean, we're kind of pedestrian still.
Gary, let's be real here.
I mean, not every week is Wisconsin.
It looks better. You cannot deny that Dana Holgorsen, his offense compared to Satterfield's offense, looks better. It just visually.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
But
the number and the points haven't changed.
But
really.
Does Nebraska, and I know the personnel is a little bit different. Does Nebraska strike you as an offense right now that can play the next 2 weeks and put up 59?
No.
Or put up 73?
No.
Which Oregon and USC did this weekend?
No, because I haven't seen Dylan make the deep throw consistently enough to believe that.
Or is it, throw that into the mix, is it just the mindset of how we play? Because when Rule said 17-16 yesterday, I knew exactly what he was talking about. Rule likes to get in games, grab the lead and grind, okay, and hold on. Like, not expand it, but hold on.
You need a good running back to do that.
Well, that guy went over 100 yards. Cincinnati's probably like, I think Wisconsin is the Dana blueprint. I think Cincinnati is Rule's blueprint.
Well, they need to marry the two.
Leave that one alone. Just because I don't know.
I'm talking about the blueprints, not the two coaches.
Oh, okay. Because I believe that would be uncomfortable for the head coach. He's got a lovely wife and a family.
Be great content, though.
Yeah.
Burn a show right there.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Well, what they need to do, though, when Nebraska's on offense is have a divorce. Okay? One guy's in charge.
No,
okay?
I'm saying the opposite. They need to grind, but they also need to score 27 points a game.
Right. But I think the guy that is currently calling the plays is better equipped to do that.
I agree.
All right. Brian Christopherson stops by next on 1620 The Zone. All right, we kick off the last week on a Tuesday. Glad to have everybody back to work, back to school, back to football, and back to Brian Christopherson from Husker 24/7, who joins us now on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. Good morning, BC.
Good morning, guys.
There's a lot to dive in here because it's game one, and that's the most current. Defensive line is a conversation point, but it has been a conversation point for a while. You lose your defensive line coach. You lose plenty of guys that are up there. You got a couple of guys that are in the NFL. Matt and I have been talking about this. It was an interesting night with a lot of rotation, a lot of different variations of stunts where sometimes Nebraska got caught, and then sometimes they executed it really well, and somebody else besides, like Judy, made a tackle. And we went, okay. It was a little bit of a roller coaster. What was your assessment of the defensive line play? And all of this are very fixable. Do you think now that they've figured out guys' roles, it'll improve in game 2, game 3, and moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's always helpful when you see even guys who have been in the program a while and comparing that with your first-year guys, how they respond in certain settings, and especially to a more significant workload. And that's something I talked about all offseason. You're asking guys to go from, in most cases, like that 10 to 12 reps a game sort of situation that, hey, we might need 35 out of you. And that's a whole different animal. And so you kind of see who can hold up and handle that well. And some did it better than others in the opener. You know, like I thought if we were to highlight some guys who stood up and made some plays at moments that kind of tilted drives, Keona Davis did some of that, like, in the first half. I thought they were really jittery on defense. It was talked about how they were taking bad angles, and it didn't feel good. And then Keona had a nice stick on like a 2nd and 4 that forced a 3rd down, and then they had to end up kicking a field goal. I thought that was like a big play. And so Keona had some moments like that. Nwaneri did some good stuff, and I think can take a lot from that film and grow from. I think he'd be happy for the most part with his first outing there. So
Absolutely.
It was an interesting deal, guys, because when the first quarter was happening, I write about this stuff for like 8 or 9 months. Every guy we write about, we talk about all off season. So the team kind of. And then I was watching the first quarter. I was like, I don't know this team. It was like that's how I felt like when the defense was out there with the front. It was like actually seeing it, like how different it looked without Ty and Nash and some guys you'd sort of been familiar with 2 or 3 years. It was an adjustment. And as the first quarter progressed, my mind in this game changed a little bit too with it, where it was sort of like they got to find a way to win this game. However it happens, they got to get out of here 1-0 with the Teach tape to bring back to Lincoln, and you go from there. But that in part was because of the defensive line, and I did feel a little uneasy from the get-go.
One guy I don't think you brought up is Dasan McCullough. Now, I liked what they were doing with moving him around the line. He lined up on the left, he lined up on the right. There was times where he just lined up right down the middle and then shifted over, and I think he did a good job of confusing the offensive line. But go back and you watch the tape. Son's the incredible play on the deflection for the screen pass. I think he was more flashy than he was substance. Your just take on how he played and just the pass rush in general, which rarely got home.
Yeah, you said it in a line, Matt, pretty well. I mean, he was sort of active, bouncing around, like how he's moving pre-snap, and that kind of caught your eye. And he was around some plays, but it was not as effective, obviously, just in a run defense standpoint, how he did. But, he ended up with 4 tackles. It was an okay game, but he'd probably say it was a C game for him. I mean, it was something like that. It wasn't a deal where they were making those impactful plays behind the line of scrimmage like maybe they hoped. Now, maybe it was the element of who you're going against, but you're always disappointed, I think, when you leave the field as a defense and you only have 2 TFLs and no sacks, no matter who you're playing. That's bottom line. One of those stats you're craving, like as a D lineman or a jack linebacker. So the fact that that's how it ended up as a team, I think it's one of those deals where everybody in that group probably went home and said, happy we won. I did some things that were all right, but it's a humbling game. There's a lot to improve on, and I think that's part of the reason why Rule on Friday had the guys grade their own tape. And what did you think of it? Be honest with yourself. Where was your game at that first time out?
One of the stats that doesn't get talked about enough, and we've had a couple listeners bring this up, and I thought, man, this is going to be fun to see Javen Wright take on Royer, who is, if not, he's one of the best tight ends in the Big 12, and he's going to play in the league. 3 catches for 11 yards. And one of those, he could have been hit behind the line of scrimmage. So it just seemed a win is a win. You never apologize. It just, from playing at Arrowhead, it was a strange game. But let me focus on not Nebraska. What was your opinion of Cincinnati?
I think they're going to be like a 6-win kind of team, like in that range. Like they're gonna knock someone off this year that people don't think they should. There's going to be some disappointing close losses, sort of like this week. You mentioned Royer, their tight end. I mean, you do have to play both sides of it here with the defense, and the fact that they held him to 3 catches, 11 yards, like going in. I mean, he's one of those people we talk about all week. Like, oh, you got to watch him. He's an X factor and all this stuff that, there was talk about him, possibly being an NFL guy last year. And so he's got that Sunday potential, and Nebraska took him out of the game and obviously the passing game away. But Cincinnati, it'll be really interesting to see if that passing game and those receivers, which they've really kind of talked up in their parts all off season, can actually burn some people, or if they were overcooked all off season. Because if they actually go out and you see over the next month and you kind of half pay attention to Cincinnati's results and you look at the stat sheet, you're like, oh, Cyrus Allen put 115 on somebody, you sort of see some of these numbers. You'll look back maybe and you'll be like, man, that was quite a evening for Sierra Wright, Andrew Marshall, Donovan Jones. And so there is that part of the defense, which was very good. And you have to give to get sometimes in football. And so Nebraska, you gave up way more than they wanted in the run game. I'm sure of that. But it is true that if you hold a team to 70 passing yards, that's almost unheard of in this day and age. So Sierra Wright, we thought he was going to be, I think, a dude this year and take it up a notch, and that's a heck of a first start when they don't even want to go your direction. When they thought all off season they had wide receivers who could be trouble for you.
My partner to the right of me, we were talking about Notre Dame, Miami. And Gary was talking about identity, and it seemed like some teams in week 1, you thought they had a certain identity, and then they veered away from it. After 1 week, Brian, does this Nebraska team have an identity?
I don't know yet. It's a good question we're going to be searching for, I think, over the next month into Michigan. It's hard to say after the first one. Those first games are weird in general, especially when it's power conference on power conference. It takes on even another dynamic when it's in a neutral setting, even though it was a home game and feel for the Huskers, which was important. It still has that sort of, I was talking with Bruns on the car ride home about this. It's it had that, you're still kind of in a bull sight type of feeling. You're playing for a trophy, even though the guys didn't know they were playing for a trophy till the end of it. But there's sort of that weird vibe where you're not familiar with the surroundings. You're away from home, and even though you got everybody supporting you, it's a different dynamic. And a lot of times, it seems like those bowl game type things, if you go to December, you might think one team is 10, 14 points better than the other, and sometimes it ends up being a 3 or 4 point game, and you just have to survive it. So I don't know what the identity is yet. I'm anxious to see, like everybody else, if they can get more explosives out of their bag on offense. That was something I wrote about right after the game. I understood it. You could have probably anticipated it, because all off season, or this camp at least, the talk was just make the routine play and those will turn into explosives. Well, in this case, that didn't exactly happen. But that's what was preached. And it was also talked about for the week before the game. Hey, since he's going to play this 3-2 type of shell defense like Iowa State does, they're going to keep it in front. It could be that kind of game. And so in a lot of ways, when you really step back from what we saw Thursday, it computes like in every aspect on each side of the ball what could have possibly happened going in. It did actually happen. Like the stuff on offense where it was kind of a dink and dunk type kind of nickel dime game. And then on defense where, hey, there's skepticism about this new look defensive line. Are they going to be able to take off right off the bat? Well, they're going to have to grow week to week, and there's still skepticism about it. So and it kind of gave us the probably takeaway that we actually could have predicted going in.
So the last two full series, I was very enamored by, because Nebraska gets the ball back and there's a shade over 7 minutes to go. And they're 18. All of a sudden they slowed way down and they started to run the football and try and run the clock. And they weren't able to get all the way because they ended up punting the football with about right before the 2-minute warning. And Archie Wilson drops it at the 9. But that drive for Nebraska on offense was not jittery. It just, Cincinnati made a play on 3rd down. Then you look at Archie Wilson drops one at the 9. Here comes Cincinnati. First of all, they were able to run 10 plays in about, a minute and a half?
Basically.
I mean, they were bang, 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 bang. And then you get the great change of coverage by Butler, underthrown ball. Hartzog makes a great play. Did you at all, well, fans probably sensed it. Did you get the sense watching Nebraska play 7 minutes to the gun that there was any panic? Because that might be a sign of growth, that you didn't get a sense of panic for the guys on the field.
No, I don't think they were actually panicked at the end of the game. I think fans and probably media watching it and with scars that still show from past years had that. And so it is a step to win a game like that, because as much as people don't like, as a fan, being in those games when they're actually happening and it's not good for their blood pressure, it's another thing we talk about all off season. Like, you're going to be in these 3-4 point games. Are you going to make that one extra play? Well, that's an easy thing to say in like June or July when it's not in front of you and you're not pacing your living room. It's another thing when it's actually taking place and you and you're like, this is this, and I'm sure people on there that weren't in the stadium when that ball left Scoresby's hands, there it is. Nobody back there. Of course, we pressed in the stage like, okay, we got a guy there. Great play. It was great because he is a guy. He is a guy who gets picked on a lot. For the things that didn't go well. So that was a big moment for him. I do think for this team, he can come through in the clutch and make a play like that and maybe build on it. And we've seen teams in the past, Minnesota a few years ago, won a bunch of those games early in their season. Everybody thought they were average, and they end up winning 10 games. Sometimes that can be a nice catapult for you.
Pause.
Yeah. Well,
we may have to reconnect here, Brian, but let's see here after Matt's question.
We'll try this out. Matt Rule, very blunt yesterday, goes, they're backup running backs. Okay. And Emmett Johnson got played at the end of the game because that's what Dana wanted, and Dana wanted to go with the hot hand. Are you more worried, same amount of worried, or even, I don't think you can be less worried. Are you more worried, or just still the regular amount of worried you worry about the backup running back situation heading into Cincinnati or after Cincinnati?
Same amount right now. I understand completely why you go with RB1 most of the way in that first game. And, he ended up playing like 69 after something like that. But it makes sense to me that you with a guy who's proven in a tight game, trying to get out of there 1-0, and now you 2 games to grow the other guys. And so hopefully I didn't disconnect from you this time around, but I am okay with it. And now I'm anxious to see what Mackay and Mosey can do, and hopefully get a bigger workload.
Yeah. Hey, we'll reconnect next week because I don't want you're sounding like Max Headroom. But Great stuff. Appreciate it. Good seeing you. Love the coverage. You Brunsey and Schaaf did a fantastic job.
Did.
And we'll be sending you a new cell phone, okay?
All right, thank you guys.
See you, Brian.
Okay. So
It's kind of how
is
Independence
that
Day started.
us?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, it is. We got to figure it out. Steven's a pretty good analysis, though.
That's a new one.
Hey.
It wasn't doing that before I left.
No, I've never seen it like that, though, where it doesn't completely.
Did you finally
falter
spill your
out.
drink on the telephone?
I've been a good boy. I haven't been spilling drinks anywhere. I've actually been cleanly. I've been clean. A lot has changed since you've left.
Wow.
I know. I'm throwing away my trash now. I'm not getting. I used to get random tweets in March from Josh Peterson about the crap that I left on the ledge. I haven't gotten those tweets in the last couple of months. So we're getting better.
We
right, Gary?
apologize.
Can you admit that I've grown up a little bit? Can you throw me a little bit of a bone?
You threw Thursday into just mayhem.
No, I didn't. I threw it into mayhem because of for myself, not because of anybody else.
But wasn't that what you were just saying? Like we didn't make a mess and leave our drink in the bathroom.
That's not true. Well, yeah, that's
I
did
did
not-
see a can this morning. I felt like I was back when I saw it in the corner.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I have it.
Because we're on like
I did.
26 days
No.
without the
I did leave
drink.
I did leave it. You didn't notice it, but I sprinted at the end of the 7 o'clock hour. I sprinted out of
Yeah.
here because I went to go and get my Monster and it wasn't there. And I was like, oh no. And I was like, I don't know when Connor Happer or Odson show up, but I was like, I got to get that thing out.
See,
of
I
there
walked
before
in
they-
there and I was, we are so back. Oh, it was during Sam. That's when I saw
It was
it.
during Sam. Yeah, that's
And
exactly.
you
when
continue
it
to
happened.
drink it.
So what?
The
man?
particles that have
I don't
infiltrated.
Care. I don't care.
I always think of that too.
Look,
People could do something to that in that bathroom.
I put worse things in my body.
Oh, I'm sure
That's
you
too
do.
That's too easy. I can't. See, you're making it too easy for me.
I put worse things in my body other than all the plume and everything. I put it in a very far away space too. The particles aren't reaching my.
Oh no,
They
we've got particle experts.
Mhm.
Do you,
Listen to the show that last time this happened.
They emailed me.
Yeah.
we have particle experts.
All right, Alan. Couple of things. Alan did bring up about Royer. 3 catches for 11 yards. You lose big, then you lose close. You learn and you start to win close. It's all come together and you start to win big. Nebraska 100-yard rusher, efficient quarterback play, made a game-winning play, moving the right direction.
Yeah, they made the big play, and that is what has been lacking this entire time. They have consistently been able to put themselves in positions to win games, and they don't make that play. The last 8 years, they just don't make that play. And if this was Nebraska of last year, Hartzog drops that interception, right? And it falls in between his hip and his hand. And
They
then
kick a
end
field
up-
goal and
they
they
kick-
send it to overtime.
And then
we know what
Nebraska
happens
has
in overtime.
has 4 plays in overtime, and they don't do anything with it. And then Cunanan, I guarantee you, Cunanan would have missed the kick in OT.
Well, yeah, because they
know?
would not have had. It would have been a 42-yarder or something around that
Yeah.
range because Nebraska doesn't get a first down in overtime.
No.
So again, I said it earlier. You never apologize for a win. You take a win and you move on, especially when you're in a situation like Nebraska. But I would like the standard to change a little bit to say that wasn't the win we wanted. Okay?
No,
that's
God,
what
no.
that's the next step in this.
Okay.
But there is clearly, if you look close enough on Thursday night, there is clearly growth. But this is where things get really interesting, and this will show me even more growth. Is you're playing a team that Old Sharpster has already said it's going to be a 42-7 type game, and you're going to hear about it all week. And Cincinnati and Akron are different. Okay, they might.
They are same state, but yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Different
Right state.
sides of the state.
Right state, wrong college.
Bend to both.
I don't know that one.
Ben, have you been to Cincinnati?
No, I haven't.
Have you been to Akron?
No, I haven't.
LeBron has.
We grew up.
I was
damn.
in Akron for a weekend back
Hey,
in November.
I don't.
I actually hung out with the Akron play-by-play guy.
You go to. You
When
go
he
to.
told me how great a basketball school it is.
You go to Ohio for vacation. You vacation Ohio?
I did.
what's-
I got kidney stones.
What's so special about Ohio? I've never heard anybody go, "Oh, I love Ohio." I'm quoting
Drew
Joakim.
Carey.
I'm quoting Joakim Noah, by the way.
Oh.
That was he did
great-
that at a
The great
presser.
French philosopher.
I've always enjoyed Ohio. I used to live on the edge of Ohio in Pittsburgh. Would go over to Columbus, would go to Cincinnati.
I've heard how
Go up
great
to Cleveland.
Columbus is.
Great
Columbus-
urgent care.
Columbus
Great.
is the largest city in Ohio.
My brother and mother went to Dayton, Ohio, so that's all. And now my brother's wife is from Dayton.
Only thing good
Ohio.
about Dayton is the first four, that arena, the Dayton Arena, and the Dayton Dragons.
That and Irish the St. Patty's Day parade over in Dayton.
I think you could say that about every city.
No, but that one in particular is actually like really, really good.
Boston,
It
Dayton,
is,
Chicago. Yeah,
But
checks
but the
out.
real city in Ohio is Athens. If you want to go to get down, Athens is the place to go. Athens has
Describe
Athens-
Get Down for me.
Athens probably has a top 10 Halloween setup.
Why that
Like
is
rivals
so
Madison?
that is so acutely specific.
Ask Peter King. Ask Frank Solich. Ask Tim Albin.
What about Athens, Ohio, and Halloween? Did they have like a haunted house that's really famous? Or
It's a very good college town.
Haddonfield, Illinois.
Very good college town.
I put it pretty mildly, pretty nicely, but we can all agree that Nebraska got a ton of puck luck, right? In the Cincinnati game.
Puck luck?
Wait,
there's
you were
not-
talking about this last. You're trying to make this stick. Explain it to me.
Like the Miami interception that they got on the deflection?
Yes, there's not a football. What's the football term for just being fortunate that you're not losing turnovers or being
Survive in advance.
Yeah, I mean, let's to your I think you were getting there. I'll just say it. Look, they were very fortunate that Cincinnati dropped what would have been a pick six. They got very fortunate that Cincinnati. So after that Pritchett false start brings them back to the 6-yard line.
Yeah.
It's 3rd and goal. That forced pass that Raiola had to Lindenmeyer was very close to being picked off. Like that could have been another turnover.
Well, sometimes you are fortunate because Dylan shouldn't have been able to recover his own fumble.
Yes.
But you don't
Exactly.
apologize and you move on. Hey, all the narratives about the defensive line and other things, either good or bad. The only way to change a narrative
Just keep winning.
is winning.
I mean, that's the one thing where I really can't push back to any criticism somebody might have about, well, they didn't look that good or they didn't play that good or it looked the same or this. I really can't because we were there. We watched it. Like there were moments where it's like that team, we're all in agreement. That team doesn't beat Michigan week 4, correct? They play the
No,
way they did
no,
against Cincinnati.
no.
Like things are going to have to change.
But see, when
Things are gonna have to get
I
better.
look at this game, I had to step back, and I said this Friday morning, is I'm looking at it through a lens where my standard has risen up. If I believe that they're a 9-win football team,
Mm-hmm.
out of the box, when the football coach says they're a pretty damn good team, I don't expect kind of a disjointed game. I expect more crispness, more consistency, and that's kind of what I think they're searching for now. Will be the Riley Van Poppel. Like Riley Van Poppel was too easy to block on Thursday night. That can't be the case. And what they keep saying is consistency. I think they feel like they have the Jimmies and the Joes.
Yeah.
At least at this point, 3 years in, to be successful, that now they just need consistency. And that's why it may be Akron, but this is like a big week for Nebraska. Nebraska can't go out and be disjointed against Akron and then go, oh, well, at least we had Houston Christian. Because you're going to get burned by that.
Oh, big time.
So the growth between week 1 and 2 is real. That's a real thing. That isn't just a Coach Osborne thing or a Coach Paterno thing. That's real. But this is a big week for Nebraska. And I think Rule kind of started that off yesterday by picking on some things that we just kind of went, oh, yeah, special team. Yeah, love Eckler. I mean, I'd take him home for dinner on Sunday night. And he's like, we got to block that. So maybe they're setting it up as, all right, it's go time. We got our rehearsal. Okay, they didn't pull us off the stage.
Mm-hmm.
Our name is still on the marquee.
Yeah.
We're coming back for another week, and our performance has to be better. We went from a dress rehearsal to the real thing. But the dress rehearsal was a lot more intense than the real thing that's going to happen this weekend.
So, real, because I know we got to get to a break, but You talk about the Jimmies and the Joes. Very talented. I agree. Isn't it incredible though that in a way
They are more talented than they've been in the previous 2 years.
Sure.
They still have some areas
Oh,
where
for sure.
I think they have a slightly above average position group.
They are, yeah. They're not on the Penn State, Ohio State, that kind of talent level. But I want to throw this out there.
They're in the
too.
meaty middle.
Isn't it incredible how this team, in a way, is very deep and thin at the same time? Where they are really deep in the secondary.
Yes.
Like there's a lot of and they're deep at wide receiver. They're deep at offensive line. And not just like one or two guys. Like all those three position groups, you can count on 3 or 4 different backups to come out and play pretty good ball for you. But then they are so thin at RB. And
they're thin at linebacker.
And they're thin at linebacker, and they are thin at D-line. Like, I think they're thinner than I anticipated at D-line, if I'm being honest with you. I did not like what I saw from 5 and 90 all game. I'm telling you, they can't play. It's going to be tough for them to play 5 and 90 throughout the year.
I think they
together.
can be deep. They had guys that's the first time they're on the front line.
Sure.
So I get what you're saying. That's a group that let's revisit this in a few weeks.
Okay. I'll take that because because the number one critique of this defensive line group is they have a ton of talent and you've seen flashes, but they haven't played the 50 snaps or the 60 snaps that these other guys have played. So that's fine. But just after one game, they are thinner than I thought they would be.
That's a position group that has to get good faster than anybody else.
Oh God, without a doubt. But even tight end now, where I'm like, they might be a little thinner at TE than I thought.
I definitely have a solid tight end one.
Oh, they got a really good tight end.
Coming up in a little bit, Andy Kendi will stop by. We'll check on his experience down on the field, where he was looking over his shoulder and he's like, "Hey, there's Mahomes." By the way, there was somebody on a national, might have been your Stoolies.
Oh,
we're talking about Mahomes and Raiola. They never interacted on Thursday night on the field before the game.
They're trying to there's this whole thing of like Patrick Mahomes has to hate this kid. Like they're trying to make it seem like they don't.
What
like
are they trying to rile us up around here? We're over. We Nebraskans don't play cosplay.
Hey, we
don't get into cosplay.
No, this is
it might happen, but we don't like. It doesn't rile us up. If you want to be cosplay, go be cosplay. But people are trying to rile people up around here. We're over it. We're on to Akron.
Troll accounts have never been more successful in this era of social media. There are just accounts that are strictly there to just troll people, and people fall for it every time.
They have different haircuts. So there. And they play a little bit different as well. Their stats are a little bit different. Deep ball.
You're talking about Patrick Mahomes. I thought you were referencing my great hair.
Yeah. Deep ball back, by the way, in Kansas City. See you in Brazil.
I hope so. I got Xavier Worthy on my team.
We're back with more Gary and Matt with Jimmy after this on 1620 The Zone. All right, as the NFL begins on Thursday, you either had a fantasy draft this weekend or maybe like Matt, you have one tonight. This is the punishment for the team that finishes last in my league. I'm sure this has been stolen from some other league, but we have to vote on this. If you finish last, you have to go to a sperm bank, donate sperm, and on the form, you have to check the box that will allow the child to contact you once they turn 18.
This was something that was also thrown around in my fantasy.
So this must
football
be a
league.
popular one that has been shared.
At least have some fun with it.
This is ridiculous. Okay, this is absolutely ridiculous that we are your punishment. So you're telling me that because I drafted Travis Etienne and Jalen Waddle, then I might have a kid walking around out there? That's really what we're doing now, because you
That's how
took
intense fantasy football
because
is.
you took the
Not like
wrong
planting a
wide
tree.
receiver. There's a little Matt McMaster that nobody knows is just running around the world. That's crazy.
It's a sitcom.
And then
idea.
when he turns 18, he'll be able to get in contact with you.
There's a Vince Vaughn movie about this.
I'm sure there's several.
It came out a couple of years ago where he needed a lot of money as a college kid, I guess, and went to the sperm bank and he had like over 400 kids.
All right. Well, I think this will probably not pass in our league, but it was fun for a while. Here is Nebraska Ball Mike. Happy September.
Happy September. It's interesting that we just started talking about pro football. Matthew, have you looked back from the ledge yet?
Whoa. What do you mean?
9 times out of 10, I wake up and see Chicago doing something like this. Julius Peppers, Khalil Mack. And then a week ago,
Go Pack Go.
I'm not messing.
Stop.
I'm minding my business, and we end up with the best linebacker in football.
You're a Packer fan?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez.
Are you nervous yet?
No,
Learn something
I'm
new
not
every day.
nervous. You overpay for a quarterback that can't throw outside the numbers. Look at the stats. One of the
Excuse
worst
me?
QB ratings.
Let
One of
him
the
have
worst-
it, Mike.
One of the
Let him
worst
go.
QB
Let him have
ratings
it.
in the NFL with a quarterback that doesn't throw over the middle.
Get him.
How
Okay.
many Super Bowl rings you had in the last 40 years?
Hey, Mike, you've had 30 years of Hall of Fame quarterbacks. You've had
I
two
get
of the
that.
top 10 quarterbacks of all time,
I'm
and
not
somehow
saying
you
he's
only
Hall
had
of
2
Fame, but
Super
he's
Bowls.
better than what you got.
You've had 30 more years of Hall of Fame quarterbacks than the Chicago Bears have had, and 1 more Super Bowl during
Let
that
me
time.
ask you
Congratulations.
something. If we'd have won 2 more Super Bowls, what would your argument be?
Hey, Mike, Rex Grossman and Aaron Rodgers have been to the same amount of Super
What would
Bowls.
your- what
They've been
would
to
your argument
Rex
be?
Grossman and Aaron Rodgers, same quarterback, in my opinion. They've both been the same amount of
Put 2
SBs.
quarterbacks in the Hall of Fame, and one's having a really good career, and you got no argument.
And yet the same amount of rings, same amount of Super Bowl appearances, same amount of Super
It
Bowl
took the
appearances.
best
Not the same amount of
defense
rings,
on
same
planet
amount of
Earth
Super
to
Bowl
get you
appearances.
yours.
Mike, you root for the most overrated, overhyped,
No, I
overanalyzed
don't.
franchise
I
in
was
the
a fan
NFL.
before
All
Brett
right,
Favre got there.
guys win 11 games every year, just get knocked
I
out,
was a
and
fan
you get
before
a
Brett Favre got
home
there.
you get a home NFC Championship game more than any other team in the league, not named the Chiefs, and you choke it away every single time.
Yeah,
embarrassing.
Aaron Rodgers still owns you, and he's in Pittsburgh now.
Oh, we're gonna kick his ass
Captain.
this year. Don't worry, we'll kick your ass and then we'll kick his ass. I'm not worried about it.
Keep dreaming,
I will.
dude.
I
I
will
miss
keep
this
dreaming.
place.
Worry about Minnesota on Monday. We
Yeah.
both got to worry about Detroit. They'll be talking about us.
Well, you're
Don't
talking
worry
about
about
me.
us.
You're asking me if I'm scared. I'm not scared of you. I'm not scared of you at all. You should be scared of Darnell Wright. He's going to be one of the best tackles in the
Micah
NFC.
Parsons. Isn't Micah
We
Parsons
got
going to
the
wear
best
1, Mike?
linebacker in the league. I think my over just went up.
Yes, it did.
And
Over
I'm sitting
10
on
and a
9.5.
half. I think he's wearing 1. They think he's going to be so good. They gave him 1.
I
Hey,
wouldn't have
to
done
wear.
that.
Hey, you wait for that Josh Jacobs decline. You wait for it, Mike. It's coming.
Eh,
Yeah.
Do you know? Have you seen the numbers? Have you seen the running back regression numbers on guys who get more than 300 touches the year before?
who are we talking about now?
Josh Jacobs. You guys won't have a run game this year. Not gonna have a run game. O-line will be okay. It'll be fine, man. You're gonna go 9-8, and you're gonna see the Bears in the playoffs, and you're gonna
With
be
him
like,
at linebacker, we're going to go 9-8. Really?
go 9-8. It's
Hey,
fine.
how about that game Thursday night? How about that?
Yes.
Do you enjoy that game? You had a nice weekend?
I was a nervous wreck. I'm glad we won. I called it before most anybody.
What do you that they were going to win?
That we were going to do it. If we did it, we were going to do it ugly.
Okay. All right. UGLY, you got no alibi?
No, and we didn't.
I
And
didn't
we're
say
lucky
you were
we
ugly.
have 2 games to work on this.
Yes, yes.
But,
1-0
you know
is
what?
better than
He has
0-1.
Oklahoma, so
That's what Lombardi said.
we'll see.
All right, Mike, thanks. Anytime you want to call in and have a Bears-Packers fight, I'm here for it.
You've never heard me do that, have you?
No, I like this. I like this side of
Okay.
you.
We have something here.
Yeah. You know what? Call in Tuesday,
No,
depending on
don't
who
call.
wins between Minnesota and Chicago.
Matt has a
Okay.
podcast you should
All
be
right.
on.
I do. I
I-
do have a podcast.
Hey, yeah, Mike, Matt's going to have you on his podcast.
I'll listen.
When is this now?
You
Right.
guys communicate off air. You're already gambling
All right,
buddies.
we'll
It'll be
do.
perfect.
We are. Mike and I have
Okay.
been
Mike,
to the
thank you.
casino together.
All right, Mike.
5-part sit-down series.
Bye.
Mike, thank you. All right.
That's
Oh,
great.
What was I going to say? I was going to say.
I don't know.
something
You're up
fun.
against the ropes right now.
Yeah, it's-
You're like Alvarez, and Bud just standing in the middle of the ring with a little bit of grin on his
I
face.
thought you were talking about Barry for a second.
I look.
11 days away.
Look, the Green Bay Packers are the Gonzaga of NFL football. Okay, you can win all these games, and you can brag about how many, the records you've broken in the playoff games you go to. But when it really matters, when it really counts, when it really is, buckle
And
up
Dick out
time,
Don
they're the
Mikowski.
bridesmaid and never the bride. It's been that way for 15 years. 15 years. They win 11 games, have a home playoff game, end up losing it. You're never better than the 49ers. You're never better than the Rams. You're never
You
better
realize
than
that
the
Harold
Buccaneers.
Washington is no longer the mayor of Chicago, right?
I
This
just
is 2025.
Or
I do.
Mayor
Okay,
McCheese.
I'm just checking.
I do.
Andy Kendi, diehard Packer fan, even though he grew up in Chicago, will join us next on 1620 The Zone. All right, let's welcome in our Kansas City friend, Andy Kendi from KTV. Good morning. How did the TV logistics work for y'all on Thursday?
Well, first of all, good morning, and thank you for the Violent Femmes.
I got you.
In Waukesha, Wisconsin's finest, I believe, is Waukesha. It was chaos, and I wish people could see what was going on behind the scenes. It was chaos, but hopefully nobody caught on to that from home. You know, logistics like not having a proper internet signal so you could access your scripts, which we have a little app for on your phone. So luckily I printed out scripts, but didn't have all scripts. And poor Bill Shamrock didn't have any scripts. So he was getting basically told what he'd written before each segment. I mean, nobody's going to cry for us. I get it. But that's just kind of what you deal with. And then the biggest thing was when we were in break, and all of a sudden we see a big, you can kind of see out of the corner of your eye, a big, like, moving blob of people coming your way. I'm like, oh boy, what is this? And then it's Travis Kelce, Jason Kelce, and their entourage of people. And they post up right behind us in our live location. Now they can go where the hell they want, right? Because it's their place. And all I'm saying is, like, if we come back on the air, I have to turn to them and try to get them on camera unless they move. But their bodyguard, of course, posted up right in front of me, like in between me and the camera. I had to kind of shoo him out of the way. And then they finally got the notion that we were on live television coming back very shortly. And so they kind of scurried out of the way because they didn't want any part of us. They didn't want no part. They were shooing away people who wanted to talk to them, Travis. And so, that's just, kind of what happens during a live show, and not only that, but Lauren is trying to, God bless Lauren Michelson. She's doing live hits, but in between, when she's not on camera, she takes her headset off and then grabs her camera to try to shoot pregame, because a lot of these guys we don't really have a video of, and if the guy does anything, we need some video support, that type of thing. That aside what we get, B-roll, aside what we get during the game. But the funniest part, guys, you'll love this. So last segment, Lauren comes running back. She throws on her headset. This is prediction time. This is just, hey, let's give our game predictions, season predictions, which I was way off about the game, by the way. I thought it was going to be higher score than that. And Lauren, the headset has to plug into the audio cable, obviously, and that's her microphone. And through the chaos, she didn't plug the microphone into the cable. And honestly, the photographer didn't see it either. So her microphone isn't on. And my mic is close to her on the headset. So I kind of lean into her a little awkwardly, not like, Joe Namath, Susie Colbert awkward, but kind of like awkwardly, so she can actually like talk into the mic. All the while, Ben Smith, our photographer, is army crawling underneath the camera to plug the audio cable in so anybody at home could hear. So those are just a few of the items that we had to deal with. But it was all in all, it was cool to see. And I'm glad that we at KTV made the commitment to do a pregame show like that, because it really did. It was turned out to be a epic night and a wonderful opener.
Were your credentials the right organization?
It was the right organization, fellas, but it was the wrong credential that I needed to be on the field. But I will say this. Arrowhead, they were, a little bit more lax than what an NFL game would have been. And they had told us that. I mean, you guys know that.
Yeah.
Because Matt Foster, who obviously worked with us at KTV, he works down in Kansas City now. And so he was at the game and we were chatting. We went out the night before and he said that they have facial recognition for NFL games to get on the field. They did not have that, but I had the wrong pass, so I was Bill Shamrock for an hour because Bill was out in the parking lot. Did you guys have it?
Well, so Josh Peterson could have stood next to Rule for the entire game because he was listed from the University of Nebraska and he had full field access. And then we had two other people that they were not under 1620 the zone. They instead were under Battle Sports, so they could go anywhere in the stadium,
like literally anywhere. They had no restrictions. Gary and I, who got the correct credential, were like, we got screwed.
Yeah, right.
and then all of a sudden they had a triumvirate that they went down there and they went to the sideline and they were watching the game from the sideline while we were all the way up in the press box. But it was funny. It was
And you guys were on the air for quite a while, right?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
were 4 to 7, and then we walked over and we weaved our way through the mass of people.
It wasn't. I will say this. My daughters went, and I got to hear their takes. They drove from Lincoln and got caught in the traffic and whatever. And but you know what? When it was all said and done, yeah, the traffic was challenging, but they got there right before kickoff, and I cannot tell you, like, I've never seen them more excited and like all smiles talk about a football game. And they said it was just one of the most amazing nights that they had because it was just so cool the way it ended and just all the Husker fans that were there. You got the notion that this was going to be a home game for Nebraska, but I don't know if anyone could have predicted that it would be like literally 95-98% Husker fans.
All right, quickly, because I want to get your thought on the game, but we're going to do it in a fun way. If you had to compare Husker football's performance to a city in Wisconsin, what would it be? Were they in Eau Claire?
Oh.
Were they a Watoma? Were they a Fond du Lac? What were they?
Ooh, Fondy's a good one. Fondy's a really good one. You know what? I'll go Appleton.
Oh,
Appleton's
okay.
kind of
Little
like
Door County-ish, right? Central? Is that Central? Okay.
I'll go Appleton.
I know
because
Appleton.
It wasn't awful. I mean, was there room for improvement? Just like Appleton, of course there's room for improvement. But Appleton is close enough to Green Bay. That's where a lot of the visiting teams stay when they play in Green Bay. They play like a half hour away in Appleton. So, yeah, there's room for improvement. Could it be better? Of course it could. And I do think that, it's interesting to get feedback immediately after the game. I'm sure you guys have buddies who text you immediately. And the overwhelming nation was like gross, ugly. And I'm like, guys, this is, they won a game like this that normally they would probably lose a year ago or 2 years ago. So to get out of there with a win, I thought was such a huge bonus. Think about the letdown that everybody would have felt if they would have completed that pass in the end zone down the stretch in the final minute. I mean, instead, we're talking about 1-0 with the opportunity to be 3-0 with Michigan coming into town.
Mm-hmm.
So was it perfect? No. Did they get outplayed in the second half, especially in the fourth quarter? Absolutely. But that being said, they did enough to win. And in years past, I don't know if they would have won that game.
So what does Saturday night have to look like?
I think it just needs to I think people want to see improvement in terms of depth from the running game. And I do think this revolving door at left tackle, I don't know if that's the greatest setup, but you got 2 games in terms of a runway to figure this thing out, which I do think that's a positive. But I think most importantly, I think defensively, I think they need to take a step, especially the front. They got pushed around a little bit, especially in that second half. I think they need to get to the quarterback, something they didn't really get to on Thursday. And I just think they need to play solidly overall. And I do think that Saturday will lend itself to opportunities for Dillon to throw more downfield, because the way that the Cincinnati was playing, there just wasn't a lot of time, or a lot of opportunities for him to take shots downfield. I think we're going to see a few more of those opportunities. And I think the Saturday people will have a different feeling leaving Memorial Stadium from a football standpoint than they did on Thursday.
Do you think it's important for a running back not named Emmett Johnson to have a big game against Akron?
Yes. I think a running back not named Emmett Johnson to have more opportunities in terms of a workload. I just think that the opportunities weren't there for Mackay or Mosey to really get into the flow of things. I think Saturday is going to change. I think they will make more of a concerted effort. That was one of the more eye-opening things when we were at Rule yesterday, listening to Coach Rule, that he was not pleased with the rotation. Now, he did say it was Dana's call, and Dana can coach the way he wants to coach, but he's, you got the sense moving forward that that's not going to happen again. Where I think we've seen it around here where a guy gets, a workhorse gets played, gets too many opportunities, and then he kind of fades down strength. Anthony Grant is a good example from a couple of years ago, where he just didn't have enough juice in the box, he didn't have enough down the stretch where
Yeah.
he really wasn't as effective. Where I don't think you want to do that with Emmett with the Big Ten schedule coming your way. So I think Saturday is a great opportunity to see a Mekhi Nelson or a Mosey or even one of the other guys. Maybe a Connor Booth. We see him carry the ball. Who knows? But I'm just saying that I would be shocked if Emmett gets 25 totes on Saturday and 7 catches.
Well, this is a little bit KTV, by the way. Great job on the pregame that I was able to watch leading into volleyball on Sunday. Shocked that Rob is retiring. 33 years at KTV, 4 decades in local television news.
I'm happy for him. I'm thrilled. I knew the day was coming. I just didn't know the day was last week. He and I went out on a week ago yesterday, and he was like, "Come on, let me take you to dinner." And I was up to my eyeballs and trying to get this special produced and whatever. But he wanted to tell me, which was very kind of him. He wanted to tell me, he wanted to tell me and Bill and Julie himself to let us know that this was coming. And this is what I told him. I said, "Man, it's so great that you get to go out on your own terms. You got a lot of life to live, and you got so many grandkids and coming your way, and he's such a family guy. I am thrilled for him to have some time off with his family. And people who don't know Rob is exactly what you see on the air. He is one of the best human beings I've ever been around, and it's take away coworkers. He is just an incredible guy who's tougher than nails, who people don't realize. He's been battling Crohn's disease. He's very forthcoming with that. And there are times and breaks where you can just see him just cringing. And he's just, he's a gamer. And the guy comes to work. He's old school. He's a journalist. And and not to knock the new generation, but there's not a lot of Rob McCartneys out there, and he's 101, as they say. So it's good for him.
That's fantastic. Now let's get Bill and Julie out of the way, and now we got tenure.
That's right. That's right.
Hey,
there you go.
Appreciate it. Great job by you and the crew in Kansas City. And then I hope the numbers are great for volleyball being carried on KTV the other day.
Yeah, that was great. And especially they got a great match, too. I'm interested to see what kind of numbers they got. We should get those later today.
Fantastic, my friend. We'll see you later.
TAK.
Thanks, boys.
That's Andy Kennedy from KTV. Rob McCartney. It was kind of because it happened on Thursday when people were preoccupied with other things. Rob McCartney, who is the main anchor, along with Julie Cornell at KTV, retiring at the end of the year. 33 years at KTV.
Congrats to him. That's awesome.
All right, crossover is coming up next. The coordinators speak today. We react. And the Cubs,
yes,
go for another victory. You know what? Go Phillies. Go Cubs. Go Gary and Matt and Jimmy. Until tomorrow at 6.